everybody. Welcome to the Jim Masters Show Live. How are you doing today? We are live worldwide. This is our entertainment lifestyle talk show series that we started some 28 weeks ago, and it's about 205, 206 episodes. Just about every single day we do this show live. We broadcast from the United States, from the greater New York City area, between New York and Boston on the southern New England coast. I am your host, Jim Masters. If you're just joining us for the first time, we welcome you. I do this work for a living. I'm a television and radio personality, journalist, actor, writer, producer, presenter, stage MC, voiceover artist, and narrator. And it's so good to have you here. We toast all of you. Welcome. New faces joining us today. We have an international audience. And what's really cool in our show is everybody that's a viewer on the Jim Masters Show Live, they call themselves Lovities. And there's a reason why they call themselves Lovities. Well, I would say it was probably July or August I had a guest on, and I was saying our show is positive, inspiring, and we talk about, life and all kinds of cool stuff. We've got folks from television and film and music and Hollywood and science, health, wellness, culinary arts, comedy, the whole bit. It's a traditional entertainment lifestyle talk show series. So I was saying love and light and levity, and I ended up saying lovity, and everybody fell in love with that word. So now they call me Mr. Lovity. They call this Lovity Hall. These are the viewers, and the viewers who are watching all around the world, they say they're Lovities. So we toast all the viewers. We toast all the Lovities who are watching right now on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. We're here every night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, with all kinds of great guests. We are booked with guests all the way till December, like the end of December. We're already booking into January. Really amazing. It's all positivity, great conversations, inspiring conversations, entertainment, so much more. And it's a very interactive entertainment lifestyle talk show series too, because we like to bring the viewers in from all around the world. Feel free to comment if you have questions, you want to just say hello. So as always, we do this traditionally on our show. We toast you and you and you and you, and you're probably saying, what the heck does he have in that martini glass? It's some Trader Joe's fresh squeezed lemonade. It looks like an expensive libation, doesn't it, in the fancy glass? No, it's just Trader Joe's lemonade. Going light today, as always, and good to have you with us. Hope you guys had a good day. If you didn't, well, then you know this is the place to recharge, reboot, or refresh, because we always have a good time, a lot of interaction with our fabulous audience. Just want to remind you, take a look at our Facebook page at Jim Masters TV. You'll see some extraordinary guests who are coming up as well. Some amazing people from all fields of endeavor and wealths of success and entertainment and so much more. Something for everybody on our show. A lot of people say we're bringing back the lost art of conversation, and at the same time, we've got that old school sensibility of a little bit of maybe the David Susskind, Cavett, Carson, Mike Douglas sort of feel, but with the modern vibe of today. And that's kind of cool to hear that. I've heard that from guests, viewers, colleagues of mine in the industry, and I think that's really cool. Our very special guest today, who's joining us from beautiful Sedona, Arizona. He is literally in God's country. It's a beautiful spot. Is the one and only Glenn Scarpelli. Now, of course, you know Glenn from CBS's One Day at a Time, the fabulous sitcom from the 70s. Great actor, singer too. Did you ever see when he was on Dick Clark's American Bandstand? But so much more. Everybody knows him. And we're going to talk about all of that too. And his beginnings in New York on Broadway and growing up in Staten Island. I was saying he grew up on the other island, Staten Island, and I grew up on Long Island in New York. So I think we're basically cousins. So he's had a brilliant career. And he's also found himself in this beautiful spot of Sedona, Arizona. And he's very positive and inspiring too. And he's into self-awareness and paying it forward. And I think that is really a cool thing. I'm into all of that too. And I think it's a beautiful thing to be a part of. So I'm excited to welcome him here. I'm also excited to welcome you guys here too. Let's take a look at some of the fabulous comments coming in. Happy Veterans Day, Jim and Lovities. We welcome Glenn Scarpelli to the show this evening. Cannot wait for this amazing, inspirational conversation in Lovity Hall tonight. Good to see you, Christine in North Carolina. Willie watching in Holland, as always, the Netherlands. Hello, Jim. My friends from Jim Masters Show. Wish you a nice show. Thank you, Willie. And for those tulips from beautiful Holland, Sherry says, hello, Lovity. So excited to be here with all of you tonight at Lovity Hall. Good to see you, Sherry. Kathleen, yes, my great friend Kathleen. She and I were on the Rachel Ray show together, actually. It was really cool. Kathleen, dear friend, she loves Glenn as well. Hi, Jim and everyone. Can't wait to welcome Glenn. Dante CD in San Diego's here. Hello, all Lovities. Hi there, Mr. Lovity. Welcome Glenn to the Lovity Hall. You're the one, actually, Dante, that calls this Lovity Hall. I think that's really cool. Looking forward to an amazing show. You got it. We always deliver. Sherry says, welcome, Glenn, to Lovely Hall. And Julie Mercado is here. Thumbs up and claps. And Wozniak. Hi, Jim and everyone. Looking forward to seeing Glenn. Stafford is here. Stafford Brent. Hello, Jim and everybody. Good to see you watching on our YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. Kathy Short. Good evening, Jim, and our lovely family from Cleveland, Ohio. I hope you all enjoyed a day. That was great. We sure did. And I hope your day is going well, too. And we have Freeline. Hello, Jim. Excited for the show. Can't wait to see Glenn. Fabulous. Love Glenn. Can't wait to see him. Julie as well. We've got all these great comments coming in. And Willie and Jimmy Madden. Good to see you. And nice to see you. And nice to see you. And sending love from Miami. We love that. Awesome. Well, let me tell you about Glenn. Of course, you know him for his acting prowess and so much more. But of course, you remember these days, right? This was Love Boat. But he has done so much more. We're gonna go over a lot of incredible photos and so many different stories. But I just want to tell you a little bit about his incredible background. He has been in entertainment for over 40 years, which is amazing. The time certainly flies. He started his career as a child actor. He's best known for his role of Alex on a long-time running CBS classic sitcom that we all love, One Day at a Time, along with Valerie Bertinelli and, of course, Bonnie Franklin and Mackenzie Phillips and Pat Harrington. Glenn debuted on Broadway with Anne Bancroft, who we always loved as well, and Golda, and returned to Broadway with Al Pacino and Richard III, and co-starred with Audrey Hepburn in the Peter Bogdanovich film, the feature film, They All Laughed. Glenn came out publicly in 2004 on the VH1 special 100 Greatest Teen Stars. Glenn has been a staunch advocate and supporter of LGBTQ rights and HIV/AIDS research. And for the past 24 years or so, he's been a resident of beautiful Sedona, Arizona. He's the founder and owner of Channel 18 Sedona Now TV. We have some clips from there, too. The TV station has been nominated for 4 Rocky Mountain Emmys, and the station has been on the air serving its community for 19 years, going on 20 now soon, showcasing all there is to see and do in beautiful Sedona. He has also brought the Sedona Now brand to a statewide audience each week on ABC 15, Arizona's hit morning show, Sonoran Living. That's great. Glenn co-hosts and produces segments called Discover Sedona Now every Friday on that show. And the segments, like the station, showcase the best of Sedona as well as northern Arizona. In addition, I tell you, he's always busy, which I think is awesome. Glenn has also co-produced live events in Sedona, including an evening with Norman Lear, who was Glenn's old boss, of course, and a concert event with Grammy winner Indiari, all at the Sedona Performing Arts Center. Now, Glenn has a film, too, streaming on Amazon Prime, in which he produced and co-stars with his One Day at a Time alumna, Mackenzie Phillips. The film is called Sacred Journeys. It was filmed entirely in beautiful Sedona. Glenn and Mackenzie can also be seen in cameo roles on the reboot of One Day at a Time, streaming now on Netflix. And, of course, you've seen it recently, too, on CBS, which is like old home week. And that stars Rita Moreno, and it's really, really cool. That is Glenn now. How would you like to see Glenn today? He looks exactly the same. Hello, Glenn. How are you? Your sound went out. Your sound. Yeah, it went out. Yeah, just the. Remember what Norman Lear told you about his hearing aids? What you had just told me before we went live? I'll let him tell you what Norman Lear once told him, which was very, very funny. So, don't you love this? Technology is nuts, isn't it? So it's no sound. Yeah. You hear me, right? So we heard you before. Yeah. So maybe you have to. It's fade to black, reboot. The internet, I tell you. You don't see this on CBS. So anything? No sound? There. Oh, there you. We did hear you. Glenn is our guest tonight, folks. He is our guest. He's going to have to He knows what this is like. He's been in this business a long time. So that was Glenn Scarpelli, and we're only just giving you a couple of seconds of him. What did you think? Did you enjoy it? I mean, hearing about his childhood, wasn't that amazing? Some of those stories were just so touching and so moving. I mean, he went through so many so fast. I have trouble remembering them. Can you remember any of the stories that he told? He'll be back in a second. He's just rebooting. Sometimes you got to go out and come back in. That's it.
Let's see.
That's it.
Can you hear me now?
We hear you now.
Oh my gosh, I had to leave and come back.
Well, that's a great way to make an entrance, a re-entrance. I told them, hey, I told you Glenn was going to be on the show, so we lived up to our promise. I said, he told us so many incredible stories that I don't even remember some of them. Can you guys refresh my memory? And I said, Glenn's worked in this industry. He knows how all this crazy technology stuff goes. It can make or break you, right, Glenn?
It can. This is not my first rodeo.
That's it. That's it. Well, welcome, my friend, and let's toast you for your joining us here on the show. Toast, toast, toast. Cheers. We just have some nice Trader Joe's lemonade here to kick things off. How are you in beautiful Sedona? I was saying, I like the background there, and the shirt matches the pillows perfectly. You did that well.
We can throw a pillow like nobody can, let me tell you.
That's it. So how have you been? How are you doing? How are things going on? I mean, I just did a little bit. That just really, the introduction just scratched the surface of everything that you've done in your life. But what are some of the cool things you're doing now to try to get through this crazy year that we've all been dealing with?
Yes. Well, I mean, this is a nutty year for everyone. I've really kind of sunk my teeth into the fact that it's been an opportunity to be still and to kind of absorb the some of the things that maybe I hadn't processed in my life. Right. I think we all have our own wounds. We all have our own pain. We all have our own stuff. And one of my coping mechanisms has been to keep busy through my life. I run in the station and doing all those other things that you talked about. I've always had project. But when things shut down, I was able to really be still and quiet. And I kind of really enjoyed it on a lot of levels, digging deep and healing some things that maybe I hadn't healed in the past. Looked at some of the stuff that was still stuck in there, if you will,
yeah, right.
Through mindfulness. Sedona is certainly considered, a spiritual mecca of the planet. Its natural beauty is, of course, the star of the show here. So I had a chance to spend a lot of time in nature. I hike with my dogs on a daily basis. I meditate every day. But I really started to look at some of the things I hadn't processed in my life. That was my big takeaway of 2020. And I wouldn't have been able to do it on the treadmill that I had been on for so many years.
Right.
Yeah. And I hit that wall, and I kind of grooved with it, and now I have a whole nother kind of pace. I too work from home. Even the shows that I do some stuff on location. We film only out exteriors, social distanced, or I'm sitting here literally in this chair with this backdrop and co-host the segments on the morning show in statewide on ABC 15 in Phoenix. And I work primarily from home, and I've really been digging it. You know, I've gotten more talented in the kitchen, and my partner Jerry is very happy about that. I became a lot more valuable, possibly you could say, because I really started to explore. I took my sister Valerie Bertinelli's gene and started to cook a lot more in the kitchen. So I'm really enjoying that. Yeah. And, you know, really a life to explore is a life worth living. So there are so many layers of us, and, you know, there is so much in common. Like there really is a human condition. And part of that human condition is we deal with our baggage, we deal with our pain, we deal with our wounds. You know, we all have them. So I think more than anything, Jim, this year for me has been an opportunity to do just that.
That's incredible. That's absolutely incredible. And that's a beautiful thing too, because, you know, oftentimes we don't get a chance to do that in our busy lives, right? We're always having to be here and be there and do this and do that. And sometimes that gets in the way. I mean, for you, going all the way back to the early years growing up in Staten Island, you've always been on the go ever since you were a kid, right? I mean, you had these opportunities early on Broadway and working with some amazing people. Tell us about that. Some of those early inspirations in your life that sort of set the path for you. I know your father was a brilliant illustrator too, right? Tell us about that connection.
Yes, Dad. I feel I got my creativity from my dad. My dad was an Archie Comics illustrator, drawing Archie, Betty, Veronica, Jughead, you know, in our basement my whole life. Oh, look, my dog just came to visit. You know, I feel like I was always encouraged to be creative, and that's a big deal. You know, I wasn't one of those kids that, you know, heard get a real job, because they never pushed me into the business. I was begging to be into the business from the age of 5 years old. I went to PS 39 in Staten Island, New York for my kindergarten year. And then I went to St. Joseph Hill Academy in Staten Island for my 8 years of grammar school. But at PS 39, I set foot on stage during a, you know, school play that we were going to do. And I felt like I came home. I was like, I'm home.
Yeah,
and I just knew that this is what I wanted to do when I was 5 years old. So I think I came into this world with a very clear picture of what excited me, what my passion was, what I wanted to bring to this lifetime. And I begged and begged, and I wore them down at around 8 years old. And then finally they said, okay, all right, you still want to act. Let's pursue this. And I had a friend that was doing commercials in Staten Island, and she introduced me to her manager, Muriel Carl, at 888 8th Avenue in the city. And I went to meet with Muriel Carl, and I sat down with her, and she said, you're a little ethnic. I think we need to change your name. What's your middle name? I said, Christopher. She said, okay, from now on, you're Glenn Christopher. And I said, I don't like that. And she said, excuse me? And I said, you know, this little precocious 8-year-old, right? And I was like, I really want to be Glenn Scarpelli. And they said, well, that's too ethnic. I said, tell that to Sinatra.
Right.
And she looked at me and she said, I can't argue with that now, can I? She goes, I don't think it's the wisest way to go, but okay, we'll go with Glenn Scarpelli. And that, I did not get a stage name. And that is my legal name, and it's my professional name too. And then I started booking stuff right away. I went out for a Prego commercial. Remember Prego?
Oh, sure,
sauces? Yeah. Prego and Celeste frozen pizza. I don't know if you remember that, the old frozen pizza.
Oh, commercial. Yes, absolutely.
And Mama Celeste was in the commercial back when she was alive, and she said, "I'm making my pizza abundanza." And that was the commercial I did. So I booked commercial. I started booking things. Literally, the first commercial I ever went on was Celeste Frozen Pizza, actually, and I booked it. So I had a very good first, outing out there. And I just kind of thought, well, this is the way this is. And then I realized show business wasn't that easy. But it didn't turn me off at all. And then my first Broadway show was when I was 9 going on 10 years old. And I booked the role of Menachem Meyer, the son of Golda Meir, in the Broadway show Golda, starring Anne Bancroft.
Yeah.
And that
what
was
an experience that is. I am Bancroft and Company. Gee.
Indeed. And she was married to Mel Brooks,
Yes.
Married to Mel Brooks.
That's right.
And he used to come to the show all the time. And I also got to know Golda. I know I sent you a picture. I don't know if you have it handy or available, but there is a Golda picture in there because we got to know, all us kids got to know Golda very well. And we all would go to lunch. She was one of those people. She was one of those people that was such a wonderful woman, I mean, what a worldly experience I got to experience so young and so early on. What an education, truly, to not only do the show. That's Anne Bancroft. I mean, that's Audrey Hepburn.
That's Audrey Hepburn. Yeah,
that's
comes a great one. Oh boy, that's a great one.
Yes, indeed. But there we go. There she is, Golda Meir. And
isn't that unbelievable?
And Anne Bancroft and Judy, who played my sister in the show. I played Golda's son, Menachem. And it was just so remarkable to get to know this woman. And I'll tell you, Jim, she said something to me that resonates with me my entire life. She said to me one day, I'll be honest, I'm not the only person she's ever said this to, that she has been quoted to say this to many people along her lifetime. But she said, be the person you want to spend the rest of your life with.
That is a beautiful statement, huh?
It is. It's pretty deep. And as a 9-year-old, I heard that, as best as a 9-year-old can, filter or process that kind of statement, and then it stuck with me. So then I thought about it when I was 19, and then, what my 25-year-old self would, process that statement, and then my 33-year-old self, and so on and so forth. And now here I am at my 54-year-old self, and it still rings so true and deep, to be fulfilled within ourselves.
Right.
Even in my relationship with Jerry, I think we're both so independent that we realize we have to be who we are together, but we don't complete each other. I don't buy into this whole I complete you thing. Right. I complete me, he completes him, and together as a union, we're very strong. Right. So I think that's what Golda was kind of implying, Yes,
absolutely. I mean, that's an extraordinary opportunity to be in the presence of somebody so beloved at an early age. I mean, you've had these experiences where you were around these people who are, monumental at an early age. And did you realize it early? Were you sort of an old soul that understood it, or was it just all part of, the process?
Well, I think both. I think both of them. I understood it as best as I knew how. I was a fan of show business. So I watched old MGM musicals and was very hip on music that was famous prior to me, being in the business. And I was enthralled by it all and taken by it all. So I did have a sense of who Anne Bancroft was. I knew how important it was to open on Broadway. Like, I got it in that respect. Having said that, I also was cool with it. Like I realized these people are just people. And it gave me such an incredible perception of not putting anyone on pedestals. I'm sitting there with the Prime Minister of Israel, and she's like my grandma. She would pinch my cheek when we came to work in the morning. And, I remember the night that she came to see the show. It wasn't actually opening night, if I recall. It might have been a couple of nights later. And we all gave her a standing ovation at the end. And, she waved and she waved to the crowd. And it was interesting because I had already had this wonderful, real relationship with this woman. And then I saw the reverence that everyone gave her, in awe of her in that theater. So, I think it was a little bit of both, Jim. I definitely knew who they were, but then I also you know, got an opportunity to see behind the veil a little bit.
Right, right, exactly. The reality that this really is a great picture of you and Audrey Hepburn. I mean,
That was one of my greatest experiences. That was actually in a Peter Bogdanovich film called
right.
They All Laughed. And I got to play Audrey's son. I worked with her for 6 weeks. She was everything you'd expect from an icon like that. She was everything you've ever heard is true. She's down to earth, lovely, kind, generous. There was a whole sequence in that film where Peter Bogdanovich shot this whole sequence with hidden cameras on Fifth Avenue. So they didn't close the streets. We didn't have the big star wagons. They had us all up at the Plaza Hotel. And the sequence started down at Rockefeller Center. And we literally, Audrey and I, hand by hand, walked up Fifth Avenue. John Ritter was also in the film, and he was placed in certain places. And we did this sequence for a few days. But there was no like stopping people. It was just no extras. It was just really the people of New York. And some of them would just look and go, "Oh my God, is that Audrey Hepburn?" You know, that kind of thing. But most, you know, in New York, you know, everybody's just kind of into their own world. So it was really kind of fun to just, you know, be on the streets with her. But because of that, she and I spent an incredible amount of quality time. And one of my great stories with Audrey Hepburn was we would kind of, when they would cut, they would whisk us off into these different stores on Fifth Avenue where we would wait until the cameras got set up again and they were ready for us to walk out to the next leg of the sequence. And we sat in this one store that was a music store, and she sat with me and she said, "Do you know anything about classical music?" And I said, "Not, you know, honestly, not too much."
Right.
I mean, that's the one. I mean, I know Broadway show tunes, but, you know, not necessarily classical music. And she said, "Well, let me teach you a little something." And then she walked me through the store and she told me about Bach and Brahms and all these different, you know, things that she loved. And at the wrap party of that film, she surprised me by that day, unbeknownst to me, she bought me all the cassette tapes that she walked me through at that store as a wrap party gift. And she gave me a beautiful note that said, "To my only movie son." I'm the only person that ever played her son in a feature film, ever. She never played a mom before They All Laughed.
Right.
And I was just so blown away that she thought of me and that she remembered that day. And like, as she was teaching, she just had so much, she just dug the idea that she was opening me up to a whole nother idea of art, really.
Yeah.
And then she gave me those tapes, which I treasured for so many years.
That is unbelievable, huh? Gee.
Yeah.
Who'd have thunk it, right? That's a great story, Glenn. That's really.
And I gotta say, like, she's one of those down to earth people. Like, she wasn't a diva at all. Like, during that whole thing, we didn't have dressing rooms. Like, we were hidden in these little shops and, you know, like shoe stores. And I mean, we were just, it was very rough and tumble shooting that sequence. And she never complained. She didn't want all her people around her, her entourage. It was just me and her hanging out, like, for, you know, all those days that we shot that portion of the film. And she knew everyone's name, to the PAs, to the assistants. She said good morning, and she said their name. Like, it wasn't just knowing Peter Bogdanovich and the actors. She knew everyone on the set, and she treated everyone equally. And, you know, I honor that.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's a beautiful thing to have that memory in that way that you can call upon. It's really cool. Here's another cool shot too.
Al Pacino.
Now
that was on
I
Broadway.
heard that you were able to also introduce somebody who really wanted to meet him. If you take his first name and add a V to it, Val and Valerie Bertinelli. Tell us about that incredible story and your involvement in this production with one and only Al Pacino. This is really cool, Glenn.
That was such an incredible experience. I was 12 and I turned 13 on Broadway with Al. In fact, Al came to my 13th birthday party. in the Village, in Greenwich Village. And, you know, just working with Al Pacino just in general was incredible, but doing Shakespeare on Broadway with him was a whole nother ball of wax. Like, it was another level. And he just had such passion for playing Richard III. And, you know, the audiences, the people that came to that show were just incredible. And I remember the night Lee Strasberg came to the show, he was actually the most nervous I've ever seen Al Pacino. And he said, you know, my acting teacher's coming tonight. My acting teacher's coming. And I was like, oh my God, how fun. And he introduced me. He actually brought Lee Strasberg into my dressing room to introduce me to him. And Al didn't take the main, this is another thing, talk about low key and down to earth. Al did not take the big star dressing room downstairs. He gave that to all the actresses.
Really?
He was on the second floor, and the only two dressing rooms, they were tiny little dressing rooms at the Court Theater on 48th Street. And the only two dressing rooms up there were him and me. So
wow.
we got to hang out quite a bit. It was really, really very special. So anyone that came to visit him, Sammy Davis Jr., I mean, the list, I mean, the amount of people that came to see Al Pacino on Broadway was incredible. And whoever came to see him had to tramp by my dressing room to get to him. So it was really quite a parade after the show every night. But, you know, I never bothered Al oh, I want you to meet this person or that person. Like, it was really, he was so low key, and, you know, he's got a lot of mystique and he's pretty mellow. So I didn't push that. I didn't push that envelope. But Valerie had bought tickets to the show. This was before I got on One Day at a Time. We were friends because her boyfriend prior to Eddie Van Halen was Scott Columbia, who I had done a pilot with. And I became friends with Scott and Val. And they came to see the show. And I said, I know Valerie's going to want to meet Al. So I said, please, Al, would you meet my friend Valerie? Now, he had never watched television. He didn't really know the show or any of it, but he did it because he was like, of course, I'll meet your friend. Of course I will. So I brought Val backstage, and you know, here I am, this 12-year-old going on 13. And I just wanted to introduce Al Pacino to Valerie Bertinelli because I thought it was cool. I was like, how fun is that? And so we went backstage, and I was like, Al, Val, Al. And I remember Val's leg shaking a little, and he was so kind to her, and she was so sweet to him. And both Val and Scott were just so happy. So we're walking out the theater, out the stage door afterwards, and Valerie says to me, I can't thank you enough, Glenn. That was just so incredible. If there's anything I could ever do for you, all you have to do is ask. And I was like, huh, mental note.
Right. Let me jot that one down.
Because then cut to, 2 years later, I'm reading, my mom actually in Staten Island was reading in TV Guide that, Mackenzie was going through her troubles, and they were letting her go, and they would be looking for a 14-year-old boy.
Right.
And I was like, huh, maybe we should ask Valerie. So I tracked her down. She was doing a TV movie in San Francisco where she was playing this nun. And I got her on the set, and she said, oh my God, you'd be so great in that role. Bonnie and I were talking today. Bonnie had casting approval. And she said, Bonnie and I were talking today, and Bonnie wants someone with theater credits. And she said, I saw you on Broadway. She goes, it's perfect. So it was thanks to, I still had to audition. I auditioned in New York, and then they flew me out for a screen test with Bonnie and Valerie and the cast and Pat. Norman got, his say in casting me, of course, also. And the rest is history. But it was thanks to Valerie that I got that. There we go. And that was my first season on One Day at a Time. What I won the lottery, dude.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. And during that time, I mean, Norman Lear was all over television. I mean, I would think Norman Lear and Aaron Spelling had the 70s and 80s all sewn up on television, really. And to be on a show like that lasted, a number of years too on CBS. And veteran actors like Bonnie and Pat Harrington and just the whole crew. What was it like? And Nanette Fabray was on. I mean,
Right.
exposure to these incredible people. You had to be pinching yourself several times, like, wow, is this really happening?
I did. I mean, I cried like a baby when I found out I got that part. Truly. I was the tears of joy. Like, I had been such a fan of the show. I watched the show every episode from the moment it was on.
Yeah.
Even knowing Valerie was such a joy and a pleasure, you know, just to get to know Val. And then to be part of that family. It was so weird though, Jim, because it was kind of like when I saw the set for the first time and I actually walked into that set. And then when the first show I did aired, it was like watching like home movies, but I was on this classic show that used to be in my living room. And now I'm in the box with these people. It was weird. Honestly, it tripped me out at first.
That's right. Exactly. Dwight is here and he's talking about some of those other things, of course, with the lovely Leslie Uggams, MacGyver, Mating Game. Yeah, I know you've had so many experiences, but this one here was really, I mean, working with these actors and actresses, it was just really incredible, right? I know you've got a wonderful friendship that's lasted all these years with Mackenzie Phillips, right?
Yes, one of my dearest friends. But before we move on to that, though, I do want to say thank you to Dwight. Dwight is such an incredible person. He gives Jerry and I so much love and support. I do these Throwback Thursdays. I would say maybe 2/3 of them are thanks to Dwight, that he finds all this incredible stuff. So thank you, Dwight. I've never had an opportunity to just thank you personally like this, but thank you, Dwight, for being such an incredible friend and supporter. I just love you. Jillian Mercado, she's another one. She is so lovely to me on Facebook. I can't thank you enough, Julie. I'm so happy for our friendship. Indeed.
That's it. Absolutely.
So you were asking me about you know, Mackenzie.
Friendship with Mackenzie, yeah.
Yeah. So what was incredible about our friendship, we talk about this often, is, you know, she went through a very public, difficult time in her life, obviously.
Yeah.
She's my hero. I mean, she's an incredible person. What she has done, you know, to live the life she lives now, not a lot of people do, you know. I mean, honestly, if you would have told me that in 2020, Norman Lear and Mackenzie Phillips would still be alive, and that maybe Bonnie and Pat weren't, I probably wouldn't have believed you.
Would have thought it'd be the other way around, right? Yeah.
Yes. I mean, Norman is going on 99 and, you know, Mackenzie certainly had her struggles, but we remained friends throughout the years. You know, she came back to the show. I was on the show. I wasn't sure how she was going to react to me. And she was just incredible. The moment I walked into the rehearsal hall, her first episode back, she came up and she held me and she said, "You do such a great job on this show. I'm so proud of you." And I was like, "Oh my God." You know, so I'm such a, you know, I had watched her for all those years and I hadn't met her yet. So once we connected, we just connected in such a beautiful way and remained friends. But it wasn't until she was able to deal with her inner pain and wounds and really get herself sober, which was, you know, in her late 40s or 50. You read her book, it's all in her book. I'm not saying anything out of school.
Yeah. It's in the book.
It's all in the book. And, you know, we became very, very close on a spiritual level. I consider her really a spiritual sister, because we've been able to dig deep, and we've been able to really share and connect and offer each other a lot of love and compassion through the years. And as things come up, she's one of my go-tos. Like, I call her when there's a thing going on for me, whether it's good or, you know, challenging. She's one of my go-tos, and she always has an answer for me. She always has, "Well, you know what I do?"
Yeah.
And I'm like, "Tell me." You know.
But you've been a wonderful source of support, I'm sure, and guidance and help for her too, knowing that you've had her back and you've stuck with her all these years. Because a lot of times, you know, in film, television, what have you, music, a lot of people, they go their separate ways. Everybody thinks that, you know, these families that are brought together on television are always close, and it usually doesn't always happen. But when you have co-stars and folks that you've been with, colleagues, and you develop these friendships, it's really quite beautiful, isn't it?
Yeah, and One Day at a Time was truly a family. I mean, I know a lot of shows say that, but I mean, I really felt that love and support that we had on that set. I mean, I remained friends with Pat and Bonnie. You know, I saw Bonnie, you know, right up until she passed. We were very close. I would sometimes hang out at her house, and sometimes I watched her dogs when she would travel, and you know, we were really, really tight. Yes. Oh my gosh, that picture, Jim,
That's
means
the
so much to
whole
me.
bit. That's everybody. Yeah.
Yeah, and especially that was the last time we were ever all together
The TV Land Awards.
at
Yeah.
the TV Land Awards. I have my friend Michael Levitt, producer of the TV Land Awards, to thank for that. We that night was just so incredibly special. Bon was starting not to feel well. She was complaining of some pain in her tummy, which, you know, eventually we found out was cancer.
Right.
And you know, this was April of 2012, and she passed away March 1st of 2013. So just about a year later, we had lost Bon, and then 6 months later, we lost Pat, or not 9 months later, we lost Pat. So, you know, just having that experience all together, what an incredible night that was. What a beautiful experience. And what a wonderful way for us to all say adieu, even though we didn't know it at the time.
Right.
And I had seen them all individually since this picture, but we were never all together, you know.
Exactly.
So that's a picture that hangs up in my office now, because it just brings me so much joy to see.
Love and joy. And it's a great shot of everybody involved. Yeah, really, really beautiful.
I love
Got
it.
another one here too I want to share as we go down memory lane a little bit here.
All right.
And a couple of people have already mentioned it. There you are, Dick Clark, bandstand, huh?
I'm going hopping today. People stopping the Philadelphia way. Yeah, man, that was an incredible experience, because I got an opportunity to record an album on CBS Records, you know, all thanks to One Day at a Time.
Right.
And, you know, the teen magazines helped quite a bit.
Sure.
You know, 16 magazine is like what Instagram is for people today, you know, so it's like that was our Instagram. There you go. There you go. Look at me. I love those.
It was either 16 or Teen Beat, right?
Yes, or Tiger Beat. That was another one. But I laughed my butt off at those tube socks. Look at those things. Yeah, that is so 80s.
Yeah. Yes. Yeah.
How funny.
With the stripes.
With the stripes, exactly. But I got an opportunity to record an album, and then I got booked on American Bandstand. And, you know, meeting Dick Clark, working with Dick Clark, he was so kind and wonderful. I was nervous that day, I got to tell you.
Yeah, I would imagine. Yeah.
I mean, an icon, a true icon that man was, and lived up to that. Truly.
Yeah. Yeah. Dwight says you had totally 80s hair. But it looked great.
Oh yeah. I don't have quite as much of a coif these days, but you know, it was definitely, well, the 80s was the time of the big hair.
Yeah.
That's what we did in the 80s.
Absolutely. Julie says 16 magazine, Tiger Beat, what memories. Sherry says, what a wonderful picture of the cast of One Day at a Time. I can see why it means so much to you. Yeah. And Kathleen says, hi, Glenn. I can see you. She's happy. She's all happy.
Hey, Kathleen. And I want to say something about Julie Mercado, too. Julie Mercado does a Facebook page for one of my dearest friends, Phil McKeon, who passed away last year.
People remember Alice. Yeah.
From Alice. You know, I went to backlot school with his sister Nancy, who was on Facts of Life, Nancy McKeon. We all went to backlot school together at Universal Studios. So it was the One Day at a Time schoolroom, which was only me because Val and Mackenzie had already, of course, graduated. Me and my teacher Gladys, who I'm going to send this link to. She's so fabulous. We text pretty much every day. Gladys.
Do you really?
These days. Yes. She's 90 years old. I don't even know. But she's incredible, and we're still close. She was like a mom to me. And I will send her this link. So hi, Gladys. And
hi, Gladys. You did good, Gladys.
Ah, she did. She was an incredible teacher, but it was her classroom, and then there was the Facts of Life, which was Nancy and Kim, one of my dearest friends in the whole world. Kim Fields, I absolutely love. We're still close. We text and talk all the time. And then Silver Spoons with Rick Schroeder.
Yeah, Rick Schroeder, that's right. And he was from Staten Island, wasn't he? Staten Island? Yes.
Born and raised in Staten Island, and his sister Dawn, who is a friend of mine. Mm-hmm. And then Different Strokes was the other one that we went to school with. So Todd Bridges and Gary Coleman. Hey, there's Kim and Mindy. I love them so much. And that's my partner, Jerry. And we were all together. This was less than a year ago. They were keynote speakers at the Women's Expo in Phoenix. That's and Jerry and I went to go visit. And this was backstage. And oh my gosh, I just love those girls so much. We have such great, incredible memories together. And, you know, I didn't really go. I went to school in New York City. I went to professional children's school, but I was on correspondence course the entire 4 years of high school. So I literally, these girls were my high school. So, you know, it's kind of like if you can relate to folks that were in your high school that you might still like love to see and catch up with and talk to, that's, you know, Kim and Mindy and Nancy and even Lisa. Lisa was a little older, so she actually wasn't in the classroom when I was there. But hey, Bruce, oh my God. What's up, Bruce? That's so funny. That's my buddy Bruce from Queens. Hey, Queens.
Hey, Bruce. Good to see you. Welcome to the show tonight. Good to have you with us. That's a cool shot of you guys. And of course, we mentioned Mackenzie earlier. This wonderful
That's my girl.
Yeah.
That's my sister. That's my sister. Yeah. We were at that award show. Let's see, what was that? I think it was the Imagine Awards, where One Day at a Time, the new One Day at a Time, won for Best Latin Series, Best Latin Comedy Series. And Norman and the team invited us to join them all to support them. And it was just so fun. And I just love going to events with Mackenzie. Like she and I, we get each other. You know, like when you have a friend that you just get and it's so easy.
It's effortless and it's automatic and you connect. Yeah. And you're each other's confidant many times too.
Yes, indeed. And we have a lot of inside jokes. So there's that.
There's that. And there's also the Love Boat.
Oh my gosh. My friend Jill Whelan and I are still BFFs from that show. I just love Jill so much. Jill, I love you. And doing the Love Boat, I think I did 3 episodes of the Love Boat. Jill was my first screen kiss ever. Wow. And I said, Jill.
Yeah.
After that, I said, Jill, I want you to know. Now I really know I'm gay. She slapped me.
She slapped me.
I'm just jazzing. I wasn't actually out in those days. I came out to all these people later on.
Yeah.
But I really wasn't back in those days. I wish I was. I mean, I had no reason not to be, but I just wasn't. You know, in those days, people weren't out.
Exactly. Kathleen says, what does Kathleen say here? As a kid, my wall was covered with photos of you, Glenn.
Ah, that's so sweet. It's so interesting, Kathleen, because now my wall is covered with photos of you.
See, that's how it works.
See how that works?
Sweet friends, Glenn and Mac. Yes. Jerry Glidden. Wow. Kim Fields and Mindy as well. Ouch. With the slap. Glenn on the Love Boat. I grew up watching your TV sitcom and all the 80s sitcoms, Memory Lane tonight as well.
Yes.
But it's really cool because you were talking also about the musical career that also developed.
Yeah, that's my album cover. That's the album cover. So that was done the year that Thriller came out. And the guy who shot the cover of Thriller shot that album cover.
Did he really?
And yeah, I was so excited. I think I had a little more lip gloss than Michael Jackson did. I'm not sure. It looks that way to me. I don't know. I've never worn so much lip gloss before in my entire life, but I keep my Blistex right here.
You got the Blistex there.
Just in case I needed it for your show, Jim. I just wanted to make sure I lived up to my
I
my
was gonna say,
reputation.
nothing's changed. You look the same, everything the same. That's amazing. So what was that like going down the musical path? That was a whole other area for you too. I mean, you've touched really every area: film, television, stage, music, owning your
Yeah.
own TV station as well. I mean, it's cool.
Yeah. I mean, I've always had a creative expression. So I'm so grateful for the life that I've led, to always have a way to express myself. The singing was just so awesome. I mean, I had done some musical theater, Peter Pan and Pippin, and, so I had always considered myself a singer, but it really wasn't until I got a chance to get into the studio with that album that I really kind of sunk my teeth into something. Paul Lecca was my producer. He wrote Hey, Hey, Na Na, Kiss 'Em Goodbye, if you recall that song.
Sure, yeah.
So I was in very, very good hands. But that was just an incredible experience to do that album. And I had my own float also on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade because of that album. I was actually doing a series called Jennifer Slept Here on NBC at the time. And the album had come out. Yeah, with Jillian. That was incredible. Yes. Another wonderful. I don't think I supplied you with a picture of that, Jim, but Anne was just so incredible to work with. Brandon Maggart, Georgia Engel was in that show. She was incredible. Yeah, she was incredible to work with. And just to be on the Macy's Thanksgiving Day Parade, dude, was like a freaking just fantasy. Like, I couldn't believe it. I was on this thing called the Doodle Bug, which was a classic float for the parade. Yeah. And it rained that day, and I had my little black umbrella. But I remember the night before the parade, we do sound checks in Herald Square. And the first time I heard my record playing in Herald Square blasting out at me in the streets of New York, I literally started to cry. I'm a crybaby. I guess I cry a lot. But I was like,
emotive.
Yeah, I just couldn't believe I was on the Macy's parade. Like to me, that was like I'd done all these other things, and I was, I had done all these things, but being on the Macy's parade was one of my highlights. I got to admit, it was pretty exciting.
That's unbelievable. One of my friends, head designer for Macy's for years, like 25 years. And we got a chance to go to where all of the floats and all of the, the decorations and everything for the Thanksgiving Day Parade, and also some of the other stuff that they do at Macy's, the design warehouse that they have, or design studio, which is just across in New Jersey. And that place is epic. I mean, when you see them actually constructing the parade itself, and you get to see all the sketches and all the diagrams and all the little miniature versions of the floats and everything, and really, really awesome.
Wow, so, that's cool. I've never seen that.
Yeah, it's in Jersey. It's really, really cool. I mean, to have been a part of it is even better.
Well, I'll tell you. Oh, those are all my
gang
friends.
You're talking about, right?
Danielle Brisebois from Archie Bunker's Place, another one of my dear friends to this day. Todd Bridges, I just saw last year in St. Louis at an autograph show that we were doing together. I mean, I just have so many incredible friends that I've made along the way. And it's just so wonderful that, I could, really say that we stay in touch. Social media plays a big role in how we've all connected on such a consistent basis, for sure. But even before that, we all remain friends. Like, when I see them, it's like no time has passed.
Right. Exactly. Which is really, really cool that everybody stays together. Here's another cool shot from the past.
That was my first One Day at a Time headshot, shot at CBS Television City in Hollywood, like right where they used to do the Carol Burnett show, and where they shot. All in the Family actually stayed there. That didn't film where we all filmed. Carol O'Connor wanted to stay at CBS Television City. But I mean, I was so excited to go there that I had just gotten the part, and they said, we need, press headshots. And that was my first one.
That is cool, huh? Here's another one.
Let's see. Oh, now that one I don't remember where I was, but oh my gosh, I had some chicken legs. Let me tell you.
That's funny.
Those pants, probably the whole waistline of those pants could probably fit around my thigh right now. Gotta love age.
It sort of slowly enters, right? It just slowly enters. That is funny. So after One Day at a Time had wrapped up, and that came to an end, and the beloved cast, and everybody moves on to the next things. Tell us what the next thing was for you. Did you know? Did you know you wanted to still stay in this? This was still in you. You loved it. You were passionate about it, and you wanted to move on to the next thing. What was next for Glenn?
Yeah, I went through a catharsis at that point. I certainly loved the business, and I knew that I was given, these incredible opportunities and these jewels of roles and experiences. But then I knew I was gay, and I really wasn't being true to myself. And I really thought I needed to be authentic to myself for my own happiness, and I wanted to find love. So, I took a little break from the industry, and I got to tell you, I pissed people off, like my agent and my publicists and my, managers, and like things were going really well at that point. So I kind of backed off at a time that was kind of at a good point. I had done Jennifer Slept Here, and then I had done an episode of Amazing Stories with Martin Scorsese directed it. Sam Waterston was the other actor in it, and I had was really kind of flying high. I went on tour with Brighton Beach Memoirs, which was an incredible experience. Playing Eugene was just so incredible on tour. And then I kind of was like, I think I need to get out of the microscope for a moment and figure out my life. It wasn't a time when it was like even the industry didn't support coming out and continuing a career. And I just needed privacy in my life. And I took it, I always say that I chose love over career is what I did. And I met this incredible man. His name was Gary Scalzo. He was a theatrical manager in New York City. And I moved back to New York, and I went to NYU Film School. So I was also continuing an education in the arts. Martin Scorsese actually helped me get into the school when I worked with him. He did make a phone call for me, and that helped tremendously. And I followed that path. But I really just wanted, I needed to not be in the microscope. I needed to explore myself. I needed to not have everyone's opinions about me guide my path. I needed to let the universe guide my path and show me who I am and what means the most to me and what's important in life and all that stuff. So I moved to New York, and Gary and I were together, and a year into the relationship, he was diagnosed HIV positive. And we, at that point, had played it safe. I was very fortunate to be educated about all of this, being in show business. Show business was hit so hard with HIV/AIDS in the 80s that I really paid attention as to what to do and what not to do and so on and so forth. So it was a year into the relationship. I said to him, let's get tested, because I will marry. If we could be married, of course we couldn't in those days, but if I can marry you, I would marry you, and then we could live in our little bubble. So we both got tested, and his came back positive. And that changed everything, being there for him through that entire thing. We were together 7 years. He passed away in 1992. I was there for his last breath. I was his caretaker. Most of my childhood fortune went to his healthcare, because honestly, it wasn't, the insurance companies weren't covering things for HIV and so on and so forth. That was a big turning point in my life, because after he passed away and going through that entire experience, I then had to reevaluate and reinvent myself. And I was 25 years old when I buried Gary. He was 36. And it was the beginning of my new path, my new chapter. And I did some incredible things. You know, I really deepened my relationship with myself. I deepened my relationship with God, the universe, whatever you want to call that great source. Not in a religious way, in an authentic, personal way. You know, a real connection of who am I? What is this thing called life? I was angry. I was in pain, you know, so I met some wonderful friends. I went on a walkabout, basically. I said, okay, God, I'm going to just go on a bit of a walkabout. I'm going to explore. I'm going to travel. I'm going to see what life brings me. I want you to, I'm open to be taught, is really the way I kind of approached it. And that was my deal. And I wound up moving to Belize, Central America. And I lived in this little village called Hopkins Village, which was all filled with Garifuna people, which were ancestors of slave ships from Africa. And, you know, there was no running water. There was no electricity. We lived off the land. I was with some incredible spiritual people that I consider my family. And we fished for our food. And you know, one of the big takeaways from my time in Belize, Jim, was there were people there that had nothing. I mean, this was poverty. You know, everyone was kind of just living off the land. And one of the big things that occurred was I saw that they were happy. After dinner, they lit a fire and spent time with their families and banged pots and pans. They couldn't even afford, you know, instruments. And they connected and they related and they had joy. And I come from, you know, we were coming from Hollywood, where there is always this sense of, I want more. I need a bigger house. I want a bigger car. I want a better role. I need the next to fill something. And I realized there was nothing there to fill. You know, what was important was connection. What was important was, you know, enjoying each other, living in the moment, having joy in our lives, being with our families, you know. So that was my real takeaway from Belize. So I at that point knew my time there had been done. But what a huge lesson that I took away from that experience, you know. And then I moved to Sedona. That's when I found Sedona. I was here for I drove into town. I was here for 30 seconds and I got this chill, dude, from like the top of my head to my toes. Yeah. And I was like, I came home, you know, I came home. And that was close now to 27 years ago, actually. And I've been here ever since, and I built a beautiful life, you know. I just decided we co-create our reality, you know. That's right. And as in co-creating our reality, we get what we want. Now, sometimes we have to explore what we don't want, you know, just to discover what we do want. But I also made a choice to be happy. You know, happiness is a choice. Being gay is not a choice. Happiness is a choice. And we have to wrap our head around making that a priority. And what does that look like for each of us? It's different for each of us. And we can't judge what that looks like for each of us. But we have to live in that authentically for ourselves. So I called Sedona a calling. You know, it was a small town. No one really knew about it. I would say I'm moving to Sedona. They all thought I was moving to Sonoma. Right. You know, like no, no one really knew.
Sonoma. Oh, I like their wine. Right.
I like their, oh, you're going to go be a wino. I'm like, no, I'm moving to a very spiritual place. So, you know, I came here and I didn't know what I was going to do, but you know, sometimes in life we have to jump in the void.
Yes.
You know?
Right.
And that's what I felt I was doing, because I did have like a great support team in LA and New York, and I had people that loved me and wanted to help, but I needed to start anew. You know, I needed a new beginning in my life, and I needed to redefine and discover who I am in a slower pace too. Like there's something to say for that.
Right. Exactly. A lot of love coming in here too. Dwight, Glenn, love you. Julie, prayers and hearts. And Sylvia Troy, hi Glenn, I'm sorry that you lost your love so early in life. So levity coming there. And Gary was a wonderful man. I was fortunate to know him.
Ah, thanks, Bruce. And Sylvia, thank you so much for saying that. I adore you. She's such a wonderful Facebook friend. She writes on every single one of my posts.
And Merlin, who's in Canada, watching in Intercape, Ontario, Canada. So proud of you doing all that for your loved one.
Thank you, Merlin. I appreciate that.
Christine in North Carolina, thanks for sharing the time and story in the early part of your life. Sorry for the loss, of course.
Thank you.
This is very true. Big believer in this. There can be no light without the dark. Absolutely.
So true.
You should talk about working with legendary Peter Marshall.
Yes.
Love you, Paisan from Freeline, watching on YouTube.
Hi, Paisan.
That's it. We do have some cool clips here too. Some are from One Day at a Time, which we'll show, and then we can maybe talk about them, and then we can progress further into some of this other cool stuff that you're doing with Sedona Now TV, which is really, really cool. And I've watched a good deal of it, and it's beautifully done and carefully treated, and really, really cool stuff. But for those of you who want to see him in One Day at a Time, of course, we do have some quick clips. So take a look at that. Yeah. Here we go.
Bus fares are expensive. Where'd you get the money? By washing 8 cars, 3 trucks, a tractor, and a baby. A baby? Yeah, he was in one of the cars. I forgot to roll up the window.
Alex, what does your mother do in cases like this?
Well, she feeds me ice cream and holds my head to her breast.
How long do you plan on staying?
Maybe forever.
No. See, dear, I want you out of here before puberty.
Brings back some cool memories, huh?
Yes, and just so you know, I got out of there before puberty. Just saying.
I was gonna say.
In case anyone was wondering.
Yeah. Here's another one. Now this was there was a little bit of there's a slap involved in this one, huh?
Oh yes.
Here we go, folks.
Father and I.
Look, just don't say that, okay? There is no my father in you. There's my father in me, and my father and my mom. You're out of it.
I care about you. I care about your father.
Nobody asked you to.
He did.
He did not. Just butt out of our life.
Alex, please be kidding, huh?
Kidding? You think I'm kidding? Well, let me tell you something. I hate this building, and I hate this new apartment that you decorated.
I was being helpful.
You were butting in.
That's not true.
Yes, it is. You were butting in, taking over.
Look, Alex, you are being unfair. You are being totally unfair. You're acting like a brat, a spoiled, rotten, obnoxious brat. And maybe I damn well better take over because it doesn't look like your mother or father are doing a very good job.
I hate you. I hate you. Alex! I hate you. And if you were such a great mother, how come your kids dropped out of school and ran away, huh?
Alex!
Oh, hey. Be my Lord.
I remember that. I remember that. And yeah, that still stings, doesn't it?
Yes, as a matter of fact, no. You know, what's interesting what's interesting about that show, Jim, was that she really did slap me in it. And
so that we heard was a real slap.
Yes, it was. And we made a choice early in the week for it to be authentic and for her to really do that. And it was very hard for Bon, honestly, to do that. And one of the things I always share this story that she called me that morning and called my parents and said, "Can I drive Glenn to work?" The day we filmed that. And she just made sure that she wanted me to know how much she loved me. You know, and that's the kind of woman Bonnie Franklin was. You know, she was just like, I want to spend as much time with Glenn today because I'm going to slap him and it's so hard and I just love him so much. And we had a great conversation going to work. And, you know, I just love Bon so much. I can't even tell you how much I admire her. And I still talk to her on a constant basis. She was one of my real go-tos. Like, I always went to Bon for throw things against the wall and say, what do you think of this, Bond? What do you think of that, Bond? She's so wise and so smart. And I still talk to her.
Yeah, she was so ideal in that role too. And that was one of the first times that you had a scenario like that, you know, with her as the single mother and raising the kids. And that was a very groundbreaking show as well, wasn't it? On so many levels.
So many levels. That's all thanks to Norman Lear. I mean, this man played such a role in our society. You know, he reflected things that really were happening in our society. I mean, before Norman Lear, the big drama of any comedy was, oh, I burnt the turkey, you know, like, you know, but there he is. Norman, that was taken. He and I at the TV Land Awards many, many moons ago. I was presenter, the trophy presenter, I think is what they called me.
Yeah.
And Norman was there, but you know, we've remained very dear friends. Yesterday was Mackenzie's birthday, but a year ago yesterday, I emceed her 60th surprise birthday party that of course Norman came and spoke at also. And just having Norman around, you mentioned in my intro that I produced an evening with Norman Lear here at the Performing Arts Center in Sedona, and Mackenzie came out for that, and she and I moderated the evening with Norman Lear. And you know, we just, every time I get a chance to spend any time with that man, it's just a true joy. He is down to earth and smart and funny and sharp to this day. He is incredible. I am in awe of Lear.
He's meant a lot to you in your life, hasn't he?
Yes,
to
anyone that's ever known him, he's meant a lot.
There's also the reboot of One Day at a Time you mentioned, which you've had involvement in, which I think is really cool. Tell us about that.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, I'm such a fan of this show. They did such a great job. You know, and they don't usually use the name, the word reboot. I know a lot of other people use it. It's really a reimagining is kind of how, it's a reimagining of the show, because it really is taken into a Latino family, a Latinx family.
Updated,
updated. It's about, it has the flavor of our show because it deals with common societal issues of today, and it faces it head on, and it brings laughter and joy. And Gloria Calderon Collette and Mike Royce, who are the executive producers, along with Norman and Brent Miller, do such an incredible job. But Gloria and Mike run the show, and what they've done, what was handed to them that Norman handed to them, and the way they went and ran with it is just so incredible. They've done such an incredible job. I'm blown away, honestly, how they were able to find their own voice, but yet honor the original show. There's Mackenzie and I, of course, with the cast. Justina Machado, who's right now on Dancing with the Stars. Everyone needs to vote for my friend Justina Machado. She's doing such an incredible job.
Yeah.
And I love it. And of course, the great Rita Moreno and Todd Brunell there, and Marcella and Isabella, who play the kids. Mackenzie and I just love them so much. We went to, before we were even on the show, we went to, I think it was the second taping ever. So to meet the kids was just so fun and exciting, and seeing them grow up is just so great. So I'm a huge fan. Everybody needs to support this show. I hope it comes back for a 5th season.
Well, the thing too, you know, is they must be in awe of you walking on set too, and Mackenzie having been on the original version, especially the younger characters and the younger cast members. Like, wait a minute, this is Alex, and you know, here you guys are. That must have been very cool. As much as it was cool for you and is cool for you to have an association with it, I would imagine in reverse, they were like, my God, that's Glenn Scarpelli. He was in it.
Well, you know, they're just such wonderful people. I don't know about awe, but I will tell you that they just opened their hearts so wide for us. And every time I go there, I totally feel like they're my family. They're my extended family. Because One Day at a Time was always a family. And even Patricia Foss Palmer, who was our original producer, is one of the producers of this show too. So there is a continuity. In fact, Patricia hid some incredible stuff from Bonnie's home and from Pat's place, and they're hidden on the set. to bring Bonnie and Pat's energy to the show also. I really hope Valerie does a guest spot on it. It would be so wonderful to see her on there too. They've been trying to do that for many years, but she's so busy with her show that it never worked out yet. But I hope it gets picked up. I want to see them picked up. So
yes, absolutely. You got to see it, folks, because it's really funny. And of course, here you are with the wonderful Rita. She's just incredible. PBS is doing I think it's an American Masters special on her life. And that's going to be incredible to see that. She's just unreal. And here you guys are together with Mackenzie and Rita. And this is backstage. Your sound went out again.
Hold on. Can you hear me now?
There you go. Yeah.
Okay, good. I'm taking these out. I think these are an issue.
It probably timed out or something, maybe.
I think we're good. As long as you can still hear me.
We hear you. It's funny. So we were talking about here. We were talking about you and Mackenzie and Rita. This was is this backstage?
Yes. So that was backstage. The night that I did my cameo on the show. I think I was on the 3rd season. And Mackenzie came to the show just to support me. She wasn't even in the episode, and she came to support me. And that's the kind of friends we are. I've been there when she did her shtick on the show too. So, you know, she's got a recurring role and is so fantastic in that role. And we just love supporting each other. But I mean, just being with those people, it is an extended family. It really is.
Yeah. It's a nice one of you and Rita.
Rita, I mean, my gosh, Rita. I mean, like West Side Story.
West
I mean,
Side
like,
Story.
As a kid, I mean, talk about one of my inspirations to be in show business. When I saw West Side Story, I was like, oh, I think I like this. I can do one of those roles. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So to work with Rita Moreno and just, you know, she's another one that's just so lovely, down to earth and kind and generous as an actress and generous backstage and, you know, not a diva at all.
No. She's just, do you remember when she was on Electric Company with Morgan Freeman?
Yes. My gosh, we grew up with that. Totally. I'm pouring myself more water because I
absolutely. You're cool stuff. And here you are too with Mackenzie with this Sacred Journey, right?
Sacred Journeys. Yes. I'm so proud of that film.
Tell us about that.
Yeah. So Mackenzie and I, because we're so close, we really wanted another project where we could kind of work together again, you know, and that was the whole motivation really for doing the film in the first place. So we both really started to develop, like, what is it that we wanted to say in this. It was shot actually as a TV pilot, and then when it wasn't picked up, Amazon Prime decided to run it as a standalone, so you could see it right now streaming on Amazon Prime. And it's directed by my dear friend Tracy Boyd, who is so talented. My dear friend Mike Colucci wrote the script, who I absolutely adore. And, you know, we all worked on this together. It started as I wanted to do a film about love translating and transitioning our lives, evolving our lives through love. That's the whole theme of this film. And, you know, I am pretty screwed up in the beginning of this film. I'm depressed. I'm a mess, actually. I am a mess. And these two people come into my life. I don't want to give too much away, but these two people come into my life. And through this new kind of modern family, if you will, Marco, my character, just transforms. And the arc of this character is so beautiful to play. I just loved every moment of it. And I'm very proud of the film. I hope everyone gets a chance to see it. It's streaming right now on Amazon Prime.
We have a clip, actually, that you had generously sent that we can take a look at here. And everybody's saying a beautiful movie. And it's really beautiful, which is really nice to see. Fabulous. And yeah, that's really, really cool. I love that. So let's take a little bit, this clip here, this is the trailer, right?
Yes, that's what you're about to see, the trailer.
And this, yeah, perfect. All right, let's take a look at this, everybody. You're going to enjoy. And then we'll be back and we'll chat with our very special guest, Glenn Scarpelli. Did I hear a dog? It looks like it's queuing up. It wants to queue up.
Ah.
I know. Let's see. Let's try it again. Let's see if we There we go. Let's try it again. Let's try it again. If all else fails, you try again.
Yes. Yes.
All right.
That's all we can do.
That's it. That's it. Absolutely. Here we go.
So, why are you dragging me out to the desert again?
To nurture and relax you. Okay. What are you doing here? Well, I thought I was going on a Jeep tour.
So, you guys know each other?
Yeah. Yeah, well, I used to live here. That kid the other day?
With your friend?
That's my kid. My son with her. You're the one who couldn't handle the thought of having a child in his life. Child in his life. Luke has cancer. Oh, babe, your meds.
I took them already.
Look, I know this is going to be really rough at first, but he needs this to get well. I love you.
Well, that went well. Just trying to say that since you guys showed up, it's different. I feel different. I care.
Guess we just have to take it one day at a time.
Oh, wait, I just threw up in my mouth a little bit. Hey! I think this is the first thing I've done right in a really long time.
Very, very nice. That is nice. Just a little bit of a teaser without giving too much of it away. That's what you call a dream project, right? A real labor of love.
Definitely. Yeah, for sure. Labor of love. You know, everybody that worked on the film, we were again, truly a family. One of my dearest friends in the world, Tiffany Miller, was our art director. Her brother, Eric Miller, did the music. Stephen Wallum, who I absolutely adore, played my boyfriend in that film. Of course, he was on Nurse Jackie on Showtime.
That's right.
Matthew Costo plays our son. And this boy is so good. And we've remained such good friends. And now he's like a foot taller than me. So I hate him.
Suddenly, he's...
He's so tall right now. I was like, who is this young man?
That is funny. So you said it's available. It's streaming now?
Streaming now on Amazon Prime.
I tell you, Amazon Prime has really made some significant inroads, hasn't it? There's so much on Amazon Prime now. It's like becoming the hub.
Yes, it is. We're very proud to be out there and available the way it's available. So I hope everybody gets a chance to see it. I saw some very, like you said, some really nice comments from folks that have seen the film. So
yes,
that means a lot. That means
yeah,
a lot.
Some really nice comments here. Absolutely. Yeah. Glenn, also, they all laughed with John Ritter, too. What was it like working with him? Amazing, John Ritter.
Oh, my gosh. Working with John Ritter was so incredible. I just love John so much.
I know.
You know, we remained friends, too, well after the film was over. You know, Peter Bogdanovich wrote and directed that film, and he has said, we brought Peter out here for the Sedona International Film Festival a few years ago. We screened the film. I got the opportunity to MC, or the Q&A after the film with Peter, and he has been known to say that that's his favorite film he ever made.
Wow.
And John was blown away to be in that film.
Yeah.
He was so excited to be in that film with Audrey Hepburn. Ben Gazzara was also the other actor in the film, and so many other incredible talents. And John was really funny. So cut to, I'm now on One Day at a Time, because that was done before One Day at a Time. I'm on One Day at a Time, and he was doing this telethon for his brother who had a disability, and they were doing a telethon, and he called me, and he said, "This is John Scarpelli looking for Glenn Ritter. Is he possibly around?" And he left this message on my voicemail. There was no such thing back then. I'm old. This was on like a little tape thing back in the day. And it was something I saved for years and years. And so let me share with you one other thing that kind of was one of those turning points for me, real spiritual lesson, if you will. And my home burnt to the ground in 2008, and I lost absolutely everything I ever owned, including that tape, including the letter that Audrey Hepburn wrote me that I shared about early on in this interview, pictures, and I lost everything. It all burnt to the ground. And there's just so many lessons when you lose all your earthly possessions, because I learned so much about attachment. Like, what are we really attached to? What is our identity? Like, I think we are conned. There's such an illusion that things become our identity, and I had to go through a process of literally mourning certain things, like not, refrigerators and things you could buy, but those things that I could never get again, like that tape of John Ritter's voice, like the handwritten letter from Audrey Hepburn, letters from my grandma before she passed away. Like, there were things that, were irreplaceable, but we're also, what we realize is we're all the whole thing is irreplaceable.
Everything,
like
every moment, right?
This is irreplaceable. Like, this is for lease,
right?
So we have to recognize attachments as an illusion. It's just a thought. It's just our thoughts thinking that this means something, or that means something, or we're not as fulfilled without it. And it's really a huge lesson of a deeper kind of spiritual relationship when you don't need anything, And when I was stripped of everything, I knew that the universe was putting yet another big one in front of me.
Yeah.
To say, okay, now this is this year's experience. And Norman Lear wrote a book. Actually, his memoir is called "Even This I Get to Experience."
Right.
And it's such a great book. I highly recommend it for everybody out there. Norman is just so incredible. He shares so many incredible things. But the title, "Even This I Get to Experience." I mean, when we leave this earthly plane, we have to just look at just a chain of experiences. That's what we had here, and we're all going to go. So, even that I got to experience is what I looked at. When I read Norman's book, one of the first things that popped in my mind was the experience of the house burning. It was an electrical fire. It wasn't a forest fire. And it went down, it went down. And I remember sitting on my curb outside watching it. And I would think, like, as it was getting to another part of the house, I was like, oh, now I'm going to lose this and this and this and this. And I mourned.
This was in Sedona?
Yes, in Sedona in 2008.
Yeah.
And again, reinvented myself.
Right.
So I kind of go back to the beginning of this conversation, Jim, where you so wisely asked me what this year was all about. I see this year for me as another reinvention, a deeper level of who I am, another knowing of what is real, you know, who we really are, not these things we think we are. One of the processes I think I've been going through in my entire life is letting go of who I think I am, because that's freedom. When we take ourselves out of the boxes that we give ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
You know, it's like, we're the ones that put us here. We're the ones that say we're this or that, you know, and then to realize that there's so much more. There's this eternal thing that is happening within us, that even through death, we continue, because we are truly energy. That's what we are. We're energy. But on this plane, we're dense. There's a density. There's this physical density. So one of the practices that I've been really into this year, and it's specifically because I've had a chance to get quiet and look at my wounds, you know, like we all have our wounds. We all have pain. For some reason, this planet has pain. And, you know, it's the human condition. This is where we all should be really gentle and kind and wonderful to each other, because we all have this. It doesn't matter how much money you have. It doesn't matter how big a star you are. It doesn't matter what you do for a living. We all, where we meet is we meet in this very vulnerable place called pain. You know? And through our pain is where we can feel our love, because it's only love that heals that pain, right?
Exactly right. Yeah.
So one of the practices that I'm doing is a practice of self-compassion. And I literally sometimes, because, you know, the world is nasty right now. So,
right.
You know, so I am pretty empathetic, so I kind of take on a lot sometimes.
I do too.
It stresses me out. Like I just go, oh my, my heart races, and like I feel anxiety from a lot of what's going on.
All of the stuff that's going on, because you want to sort of help it through, and there's so many things out of our actual control, but you still take it on. I'm exactly the same way. Yeah. Yeah.
And honestly, like, I think a lot of us have an instinct to want to fix things.
Right.
And
caretakers.
Yes. And we can't fix everything.
No.
You know, except ourselves. And that's the hardest thing. Except ourselves.
Right.
So my like literally I will stop when I'm starting to feel that, what I call going out of my window of tolerance. And I start to feel that kind of thing going on, which I know a lot of people feel these days. Again, the human condition.
Yes.
And I stop and I get quiet and I put away the phones and I put away the laptop and the emails, and I calm myself down and I literally hug myself. And I just tell myself it's okay. It's okay that I feel this way. It's okay that I'm hurting right now. And I offer myself compassion.
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. It's kind of like we have to do this for ourselves before we can even do it for anyone else.
Right. Exactly. Right. That's something I had to learn. I was on a TV shoot in Las Vegas, and I've shared this story a little bit here and there, but I was on a TV shoot in Las Vegas, and I was interviewing, it's for the TV News Magazine show in New York. They flew me out to Las Vegas, and we went to a town just west of Las Vegas called Pahrump, Nevada, and about an hour west through the desert. Never heard of the town before, but, you know, very beautiful desert area. As you know, being in Arizona, just the raw earth, raw nature is really extraordinary. So here I am flying in from the East Coast and landing in Vegas. We do the shoot at this woman's home. She's a brilliant oil painter, originally from California. She made her home in Pahrump, Nevada, in this small desert town. And after the whole thing was done and we wrapped up the shoot, the film crew had to go back to LA because they had a gig in the morning. And I still had like most of that next day left before I had to get to Vegas to fly back east. So I'm in the rental car and I'm driving along, and, you know, I like to explore the nooks and crannies. You know, we all go to the tourist spots and everything, but I really like to go off the beaten path and learn about the culture and the people and the food. And I'm very visual too. I like to really see everything and soak it all in, especially if it's somewhere that I haven't been before. So I'm in this rental car, and the only thing I know about the rental car basically is the make and model. I don't know the history of how well kept this car is and all of that. And I'm driving around, and I keep being brought to the entrance to Death Valley. Now, to me, you know, I had Death Valley on a pedestal, like people have the Statue of Liberty on a pedestal. You know, coming from the East Coast, Death Valley, this is monumental. I mean, you see it on television, you see it in the movies. People go down that humid, misty road, and who knows what happens. You may disappear, you might not come back. It's got all these crazy weather patterns and rugged territory, and it's lonely. There's nothing, there's nobody there. And so I keep being brought somehow as I'm driving this car. Every turn kept taking me to the entrance of that road that takes you right into Death Valley. Now, normally I would have probably strategized it like, okay, if we're going to go to Death Valley, it's going to be planned out and we're going to have loved ones and friends with us, because I'm very communal like you. I like to, that's probably why I'm a host. I like to create experiences for everybody and share in those experiences. I love being in a movie theater and we're all watching Titanic, and as the Titanic sinks, we all collectively feel the same emotions at the same time. I love all of that. So holidays, Christmas Day, all of those things with the family to me are huge, because we're all feeling the love and the kindness and the levity and everything all at the same time. And it's so joyful. But this was a situation where I'm at the entrance of Death Valley with this rental car. Nobody knows that I'm doing this. I don't have any of the supplies. I don't have the charged cell phone. I don't have all the water. I haven't called people to tell them that I'm there. It's a rental car. Who knows what can happen to the rental car? No food, none of it. So there was some sort of a strange energy that, and I'm sure you'll get this, that sort of pushed me in to say, just go, just go, just get in that road and just take that car and just do it, and do it alone. I'm like, what do you mean do it alone? I'd rather have people here so we can bounce the energy off of each other. Wow, look at that. And you hear people in the back seat giggling and laughing. Oh, I love that experience, communal. None of that was to be had. So I took the car and I started driving in. And I would say the first 15 minutes of being in Death Valley, and this was in August, about a year and a half ago. So it's August in Death Valley on top of it. So I had this whole monumental thing about Death Valley, like we do in certain places. Probably the Acropolis in Greece would be another monumental place. And yet I'm driving in, nobody knows I'm doing it. And I start to feel a couple of interesting sensations. And the first was extreme guilt. And the guilt that I was feeling, Glenn, was that I was not sharing this, what I put on a pedestal, monumental place of Death Valley, with loved ones and friends in the car. Only I was seeing the beautiful visualizations through my eyes. Only I was getting the sensation and the power of the vastness of the raw earth. And it was almost like, well, why do I get to experience this? I want to do this with everybody else in the car and we're all enjoying it. So I felt a couple of cool energies that were amazing. One was the energy of the earth, just looking at the desert and seeing the earth. There's no city skyline. There's no beautiful, lush forest. And, of course, having grown up on the coast, the ocean speaks to me. I love the ocean. I'm boogie boarding, swimming, kite, surfing, windsurfing, walking it. The ocean is like a Zen go-to place, because I respect the power of the ocean and I love the constant of the ocean and just the beauty of the ocean. So it couldn't have been the ocean, could have been the forest. It couldn't have been a busy city. For me to get these energies that I got, that were, the ocean is the Zen place. So for me to get these energies, I couldn't have been in that Zen comfort place. It had to be a place of risk and stripped raw earth in August, 110 degrees, in a rental car with no supplies and nobody knows I'm doing it. Something that had risk involved and something that was totally forcing self-awareness and getting in touch with self. So I'm feeling guilty for 25 minutes of driving in that I'm not experiencing this with the loved ones and friends. And then I'm feeling this energy of the earth. And I'm actually on a planet. I'm on an earth that has all this energy. The second thing that I felt was this energy of nature, that I'm surrounded by raw nature around me. And then the third thing that I felt was some sort of a presence, some might say divine, something that is larger than me, that's been here a lot longer than I have and will be here past me, that's sort of guiding. I felt like I was being guided by these three energies that are more monumental than I am, that are saying, look, we can do a couple of things here. You've got some choices, Jim. You could elect to turn that car around and go back to the hotel and just wait it out until your flight back east, takes off from Las Vegas tomorrow, or you can keep going. So you have these energies of this divine, of the earth and of nature, and we could wipe you out in 2 seconds with a tornado, or we can make the car overheat. We could do whatever we want. However, sort of like if you trust in us and if you release and let us just be there and sort of invest in us, we'll see what happens. So I said, all right, what the heck, I'll do that. And I started continuing through that lonely road in Death Valley. And as I was doing that, that guilt of not having the loved ones and friends and family in the car sharing it with me started to subside. It started to become my experience. It was a self-experience. So I ended up actually driving all the way through and then all the way back to Pahrump in that rental car, stopped maybe here and there to take some photos and video and things of that nature. And it was an extraordinary experience because, and it ties to what you just said, and I haven't told a lot of people this story. People say you should write a book, you should do more with it. You should go back, film it. You should do a lot of things because it might inspire other people. Three big things happened. And one was, and I consider them life-changing. One was the understanding that the world is going to continue, this earth is going to continue to spin on its axis, whether I continue to try to rescue it all the time and run to put everybody else's fires out before I tend to any that I might have sort of steaming over there. Oh, I'll let that steam, but I'll be right there and I'll help you. I'll have the bucket of water and I'll help you douse your flames. So I'm always jumping for the needs of everybody else. And it's a family trade. And we were sort of raised to run to everybody and help everybody and do the right thing. So the understanding that the earth is going to spin on its axis, whether I do it or not, was very liberating and relieving. The second thing was that there are going to be experiences in your life where they're just going to be yours. You're the only one in the room at that time when that thing happened. And it's okay. It doesn't have to be shared at that moment for you to really experience it. You don't have to feel like you're egotistical or you're selfish or you're greedy, that it's happening just to you and only you get to see that and you get to feel that it was meant for you and that other people are having other experiences in a singular fashion as well. So when these things happen, soak it up and go with it. It doesn't always have to have the others in the car with you to make it even more heightened. What you'll do is tell people about the experience that you had. And people that I've told have said, gee, you know what? We didn't have to even be in the car because the way you describe it, we feel like we were in the car with you already. Right. So, and then the third thing, which ties into what you just said, is whenever I'm on a plane, I've always, and I still have maybe 10% where I wrangled with it. Whenever the flight attendant would say, okay, in the event of us needing, oxygen or what have you, those masks are going to drop down. Put the mask on yourself first before you help the other person. And for me, always, even when I was a kid, when I would hear that, it was like, wait a minute, that's not right. That's selfish. No, no, no. We were raised to help thy fellow man, to help thy neighbor. This person's next to me, a mask fell. Let me make sure I get it on him first or her first. and then I'll put mine on. I realized in doing this trip alone in August in this rental car, unannounced with no supplies, in an ad hoc way, that I have to put the mask on me first. You have to put it on you first. She, he, they have to put it on each other first in order to have the oxygen to be able to help other people in the way that we want to do. So it isn't like you stop helping people. It's just you have to make sure that you get the oxygen too, and they should put it on themselves first as well. And it took driving alone through Death Valley, where it couldn't have been, again, a city, a forest, a garden, the ocean, none of that. It had to be stripped earth to get in touch with that self. And I think that was life-changing in so many different ways, because I came out of that saying, you know what, that's the way I got to be. That's the way I got to do it. And you also have to set some boundaries too. I never was really good at setting any boundaries. You have to actually set a few boundaries here and there. Not that you don't do this or do that. It's just you have to make sure that the things that are happening with you are taken care of first, and then run to save the rest of the world. So you triggered me sharing that with you, because we sound very, very kindred and very similar. And I think that's why we've had these conversations, that even off this show we're doing tonight, an understanding of similarities in personality and maybe even upbringing and family and all these different things, that when you are that caretaker type, and especially being in these industries that we're in, it's not always so easy to be that way. And you don't lose the essence of being that way. I tell people that my heart and soul hasn't changed me. I'm still the same guy that went into Death Valley, who came out. There's just some certain thing. There's a few things that I now understand about myself that have been enhanced. And then I'll say, well, how come this didn't happen when I was 19 years old? Or why didn't this happen when I was like 25 or 30 or whatever? And they're like, wasn't supposed to. You wouldn't have been ready. You wouldn't have understood it. You might have shunned it. You might have not recognized what was for you when you kept ending up in that car, somehow being led to the entrance of Death Valley, that you were being offered a gift. That was a gift. You had to go through that experience that had all the risk involved and all the unknown involved, to have it be totally you, without the loved ones and friends, for you to really get it and absorb it and apply it to the rest of your life. And that's the Death Valley story, I call it. And you triggered that. You triggered that, Glenn Scarpelli.
I'm glad I did. I'm glad I did. No, and thank you so much for sharing that, dude. I mean, like, I really resonate with what you're talking about, because I think in today's society, you know, everyone like wants everyone else to change a little bit, but you know, try changing one thing about yourself before you ask anybody else to change. Like, it's not easy. Like, it's not easy to come to these kinds of realizations. This is the real work. This is the deep crap that we have to deal with, you know, that's gooky and messy and is scary. You know, I mean, when you were talking about going in there, you're facing your fear, first of all, right?
Yeah, right.
And on the fear side of our life comes things like guilt.
Yes.
You know, this is where we start feeling that side, the shadow side of ourselves, right? Because guilt is, again, a thought, because we're taught something that we should be doing this or we should be doing that. And when we're not, we feel guilty, you know, but it's about what's real. What is the true essence of Jim Masters, you know, and it's okay to, you know, have your own thing going on.
Right.
You know, that voice inside you, Jim, from what I'm hearing, was something that was drilled into you, as it is for me growing up the way we grew up, East Coast family, thick family stuff, is, you know, kind of a program that's not necessarily serving us any longer.
Yeah.
You know?
Right.
So then, therefore, we need to look at how we can, you know, for the rest of our lives. And that doesn't mean letting go of that doesn't mean of being different. It means being deeper for ourselves, you know? And I say that with it's so in line with what I was talking about with my self-compassion, because my self-compassion is my time for Glenn.
Right.
When I get quiet and I'm the only one that needs to do that. It has nothing to do with anyone else.
Nobody else, right?
It is not for anybody else. It's not about anybody else. It's about me. And it's about me calming my own nervous system down so that I can be compassionate to myself. And then it's easier to be compassionate to others.
You're right.
I'm a huge RuPaul's Drag Race fan.
Oh, yeah.
At the end of every show, she's like, if you can't love yourself, how the hell you gonna love somebody else? Can I get an amen up in here?
And it's so like, and so right too, because I always thought it was self-serving or selfish or greedy or just like, oh, no, I want to help you first, and then whatever's left, whatever scraps are left, I'll handle it and deal with it myself. You go over there and I'll take care of it, and then I'll deal with whatever's in front of me that I have to. But now you realize that that's also doing yourself a disservice in so many different ways.
Yeah.
It's almost
limiting.
lowering.
You limit yourself.
Limit, and you almost lower your own value in a way.
Yeah.
So when you come to that point, and again, like I said, well, gee, that would have been cool to have that happen at 18 or 25 or whatever. And they're like, you wouldn't have gotten it. You would have driven by it. It wouldn't have clicked in. You had to experience life and the beauty of life and all the fabulous things in the life, the good, the bad, loss and gain and all the things that life brings, to have that moment come where that gift is presented. And there you are. You actually took it. You might have been pushed in by whatever energies you're talking about. Might have had to be nudged in, but once you went in and felt the guilt for 25 minutes of no family and friends experiencing this with you, and why do I get to experience it? You had that choice: go back to the hotel room or keep going.
Right.
And you trusted in these energies and kept going, and glad I did,
I'm glad you did too, buddy.
It's like,
that's a big deal. No, that's a big deal. These are the moments in life that can, define us. These are the moments that we take for, like, from this moment on, when they say, today is the first day of the rest of your life. That's like the kind of stuff that happens where we can really go, wow, I really learned something and can apply it now for the rest of my life.
Exactly.
Because we all really do. It is, life is really this journey of self-awareness. And part of that is, I don't care what religion you follow or anybody has their own belief system. The one thing that I do know to be true is, if you want a relationship with Creator, take a look inside yourself, because that's where it lives, and only through our own self-observance, self-awareness, mindfulness, if you will, do we grow, and do we get any kind of answers. It's only within us. And that's the only way we can help anyone else, is to really help ourselves first. So, that's been such a big part of my life, but also this year, because we are fixers, but we have to really fix ourselves. Like, it's like, I want that person to think like that and blah, blah.
Right.
Well, take a look at yourself. What can you change about yourself? What can you, and I even hesitate to use the word change, because I like to use the word evolve.
Mm-hmm.
Because this is an opportunity. I see this as the great opportunity right now, honestly, not only for our country, but for the world and for our species. This is the time of the Great Awakening, is what's going on. And yeah, there are darker forces, because, that's part of it too.
Mm-hmm.
We have to learn how to accept things. I had a friend send me something recently, my friend Andrea Smith, who is the world peace artist. We were having a conversation about inner peace, and true inner peace, this is the conversation we were having. True inner peace comes when whatever's going on outside of us, whatever situation may be outside of us, whatever someone might be saying to us, when we can be steady and peaceful and calm through the rocky waters. doesn't matter what's going on outside, because outside is just a reflection of inside. So we have to get the inside right, you know?
Right.
So that's kind of, you know, that's kind of the real stuff right there, as far as I'm concerned. I live for this shit.
Right. It is.
I do. I love it. I love it so
me
much.
Too. It's it is amazing when you have an opportunity to have these experiences happen and then to share them with other people is the beauty too, because it's all about inspiring others and lifting others up and reassuring people, which I've always loved to do. And
well, we got to get you out here to Sedona, dude. You got to come visit us in Sedona. You know, we do have the Sedona Vacation Villas. I don't know if you saw all that stuff.
Yes, I want to show that. And I also want to tell us about, because everybody knows One Day at a Time and all this fabulous career, Love Boat, MacGyver, all these cool things. But you have developed such a wonderful experience in Sedona that I've been really, you know, cheering on and telling everybody about. You know, Glenn's in Sedona and he's living this incredible life and he's involved in so many great things and still ever the communicator, which I love, having your own, you know, TV station, Sedona Now TV, creating that. What was the inspiration to do that? I mean, that's a really cool thing to be doing. You could just be kicking back and saying, you know what, I've done it. I've done everything in the public. I don't need to be in the public anymore, but you still like being, you know, involved with people and lifting people up and communicating and connecting. And I know Sedona Now TV, as much as it celebrates beautiful Sedona, it really is so inspiring for the people too, and to learn about this beautiful area where you're at.
Well, you know, I think that I'm very proud of Sedona, first of all. So I feel both Jerry and I both feel that there is some sort of a stewardship that we've been given in regards to sharing her. I call Sedona her. I really feel she's a female energy.
Yes.
So we have the stewardship to do that. So both businesses, both Sedona Now TV and Sedona Vacation Villas, are ways to share Sedona. So I think that was part of the main motivation and part of the calling as to when we started to reinvent ourselves. Jerry was a producer of game shows. Wink Martindale was his business partner. They produced game shows together. He was the president of the Lawrence Welk Entertainment Group.
Oh,
he
yeah.
too made a huge shift in his life and found Sedona. So I think part of that calling was we feel very proud of Sedona. There we are together. Look at that shot. That's a good
one, huh?
Oh my God, you're going back on that one. That's a fun one. That was when we were producing Sedona World Wisdom Days together. We produced these events here in town where we brought in incredible speakers, Marianne Williamson, and so many different incredible minds and authors.
Yeah.
And that's where that picture comes from. But we do feel a stewardship to Sedona. So Sedona Now TV does that, kind of guides people what to do and see, but it also shares, you know, the spiritual aspect of it. You know, one of the things about Sedona is we live, there's 4 vortexes here. You know, that's kind of controversial sometimes, the whole vortex thing. But the truth is our red rocks are red because there's iron ore in our rock. So there's literally a magnetic energy in the rocks that we live. And there are 4 main vortexes here, nowhere else in the world except for, gosh, I can't remember exactly where the other vortexes are, but they're on the other side of the planet near Australia. And basically those energies are either male or female. So these magnets are either like magnets or male and female. We have 2 male and 2 female magnets here in town. We actually live on one. We live on a male vortex. And the male vortex is manifestation vortex. So basically, when you set an intention in one of these spots, you're sending your intention on a male vortex out into the universe for manifestation. So if you come visit us, be careful of what you think about here when you're at our house, because thoughts become things very easily on Little House on the Vortex. That's what we call our house, Little House on the Vortex, not Little House on the Prairie.
Yeah.
So
all positive thoughts, folks. All positive thoughts.
All positive thoughts. Stay positive. And then the female vortexes are where you give back to the earth. So like when I was quitting smoking, for instance, many years ago, I went there to meditate and pray because this addiction to this nicotine that no longer served me, I gave back to Mother Earth. So those are the kinds of things that Sedona offers. So both our businesses invite people here. So Sedona Now TV, which everybody can find out at Sedona Now, sedonanow.com, and Sedona Vacation Villas, where we literally bring people to Sedona and can stay in these beautiful homes that Jer had, really has had the vision for many, many years. A way in which we share Sedona. So I think that when you ask me what the passion is, I think that's it. Like, we love it. Like, we love it here. I wouldn't want to be anywhere else. Like, especially now, we are a sought after community right now because we have so much elbow room. We have, you can go into the middle of glory. I mean, it is glorious in the middle of our forest and be around no one. Talk about social distancing, you know.
Beautiful, yeah.
It's really beautiful. And there is a vibe, there's a feeling here. So so that was the kind of the thought behind Sedona Now TV and also the Sedona Now segments that we do on ABC 15 every Friday. I'm actually on tomorrow morning. I'm on 2 days this week because last week was election week and we got preempted. So I'm actually on tomorrow morning, which is why I can't talk too much longer because I have to make this an early night.
That's it.
Because I got to be up early on the show. But
we have a quick clip. It's a bumper of Sedona Now TV.
Yeah, cool. That's a cool one.
Yeah, let's show that so they can get a good sense of what it's all about.
All right.
Here it is.
Hi, I hope you're enjoying Sedona Now TV. I'm your host, Glenn Scarpelli. We love sharing all the amazing experiences of our area. So stay right here on Sedona Now TV as we show you everything there is to see and do in beautiful northern Arizona.
Nice, nice. And then we have the quick one from the guest villas so they can see that. You're going to fall in love with this, folks. This is truly amazing. Take a look at that one, too.
The heart of the guest villa begins with your large, fully equipped kitchen with everything that you'll need. Enjoy your home-cooked meals in your dining room with cathedral ceilings and plenty of seating. The living room features beautiful maple wood floors, a river rock fireplace, high-definition television with Netflix, picture windows, and an exquisite viewing deck capturing Sedona's majestic red rock formations. The villa is walking distance to the cooling waters of Oak Creek and adjacent Forest Service hiking trails. And the guest villa has the distinction of offering a Sedona address zoned for short-term vacation rentals. Our 5-star reviews list the Sedona guest villa as Oak Creek Canyon living at its best. For reservations and information, call 928-251-0003. Sedona Guest Villa at Oak Creek Canyon, your home away from home.
Is that enticing?
It is. Everybody's saying that this is exactly the getaway I need. I see why Glenn lives in Arizona. Beautiful town. Sylvia Troy watching on YouTube on Jim Masters TV says, stunningly beautiful, the villa and the scenery. I'm trying to get there too one day. Absolutely gorgeous. Right. Heavenly. Can't wait to visit. Wow, beautiful views. Really, it is. Absolutely. Looks beautiful. Would love to visit Sedona, Arizona someday. Beautiful condos. Great commercial on Sedona. Love it, love it, love it. Really nice.
I'm so happy with all that feedback. Thank you all so much. You know, we're in the process literally of building a brand new villa. There's we have several properties. That's just one of them. But this one we're building, Jim, like it's pretty awesome. It's got a 360-degree rooftop deck with just Red Rock views all around. It's got indoor-outdoor fireplace. It's got outdoor showers that are just like adventure showers. I mean, it's really beautiful. It's very cool. And that's in Uptown Sedona, which is, you know, walking distance to everything you want to see and do in the area. So it's we're very proud of those properties. I'm real proud of the TV station, and you know, we're just kind of like, we're like Sedona guys, you know.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's our thing, and that's the passion we have right now. You know, we created a new life here. Yeah. And we honor it, and we honor Sedona for who she is, you know. So
right. Absolutely.
We got to get you out here, dude. You would love
this
conversation we've had tonight. This is so Sedona. Like, you got to get your butt out here, bro.
By way of Death Valley?
Yeah. Hey, I've done Death Valley, and I did it in August too, dude, because it's, I think, and don't quote me, you might have to Google this. It's like 200 feet below sea level or something like that.
Right.
That's why it's so freaking.
And there's areas where it's hot as anything, and then there could be snow in the mountainous areas too at the same time. It's unbelievable. Well, Glenn,
you know, we live in northern Arizona.
There you go.
There's Jared. That's Coffee Pot Rock is what that one's called. The top one, Coffee Pot Rock. That's a famous rock out here. And, you know, we live in the mountains. So even in the summer, we're not as hot as like Phoenix is. You know, we're about 30 degrees cooler at night and about 15 to 20 degrees cooler during the day. And we get snow out here too. And sometimes we'll be able to like be in t-shirts in the wintertime, but yet on those mountains above us are sprinkled with snow. And it's so beautiful.
Well, Snugs30 on YouTube says, do we get, they wrote Green, but I think they mean Glenn, as a personal cook if we rent there. Michelle Martin.
Well, you know, everything's negotiable.
Everything is negotiable. That's right. There's a price for everything. Glenn, you know, when you're such an inspiration and such a joy, and I'm so glad we've had all this time. I'm so glad we had this time together.
I'm so glad and someone, I think it was Kathleen, who actually
had asked,
"Can you do something? Can you do something for all your Facebook friends?" So here we go. This is for all our Facebook friends. I'm stealing this because you happen to have sung that song, Jim.
That's it. The wonderful Carol Burnett. She's one of my favorite people too, and I had an opportunity to chat with her. She and Florence Henderson, they're so real. Of course, we lost Florence, but so real, so authentic. And the time that I had with both of them, they couldn't have been nicer, warmer, more genuine, more authentic and real. No airs about Carol or Florence at all. None with you. Judy Collins, I would say, would have been the same way. And that's fantastic. It's refreshing, you know, when you just living life and enjoying it. And even though with all of these incredible experiences that you've had in a very tough industry, you've come out a survivor and you're still creating and you're still inspiring. It's really cool. When you look back at all of it, all of this joy, you know, that you've been involved in all these years, my friend, What are some of those blessings and those joys that you think about that continue Glenn's story, Glenn's life journey, creating, inspiring? I mean, you've really had some really extraordinary people in your life who've mentored, who you've shared things with, who are buddies, who you've created with, who you've been inspired by. You've touched so many different lives in so many different ways and continue to, my friend, all the way back from Staten Island forward. And when you look back at it, I mean,
well, you know, doing the show has been such a joy because it's a chance to actually see it in front of me again. And you know, the one thing that I come up with, and it was something I've actually was doing some practices with today, it's just practices of gratitude. Yes. You know, like I'm just grateful. I'm just so grateful. You know, I'm living the life I choose to live right now. You know, I'm not a victim to anyone else at this stage of my life, you know. So I'm so grateful for that. You know, I have made choices to define my life as I see fit for me, you know, and all those incredible experiences. I mean, I feel like I won the lottery 10 times over. I do. And I just am so grateful. I thank God every day for the life that I have, the life that I've had. My relationship with Jerry is so beautiful. The businesses we have right now, the way in which we could maneuver through this year in particular. You know, this is a tricky year for everyone. And just the way we were able to dance through and make choices to slow our pace down a little bit and take time for ourselves and to have the wherewithal to do some self-care. You know, that's really been, I'm so grateful for all of that, you know, and yeah, I'm so grateful for the people that have loved and supported me. Like I get so much love on Facebook. I can't even stand it. Instagram. I'm not on Twitter. I actually boycotted Twitter a couple of years ago. My account is still open, but I'm never.
Probably a smart move.
I don't do Twitter, but yeah. I don't have to. But I do Instagram and Facebook, and I just feel so much, you know, love and compassion from everyone. So I just want to say thank you. I mean, and thank you to you, Jim, for inviting me on the show. You're such a joy. Every time you bring so much love to your Facebook and social media presence, because that's who you are. And even when you post, it's always this beautiful heart or positive thought. And, you know, I really honor that. It's so important in today's world. And you're just one of those beacons. So keep continuing being a beacon of light, my friend.
I appreciate that. That's beautifully said. And you right back at you, Glenn, because you are, and everybody's saying, and I told you that's what's going to happen. You're a true lovity. You're one of our lovities here on the Jim Master Show Live. And it's a beautiful thing, you know, of all the accolades you've had, now you can tell people in the supermarket, I'm a lovity on the Jim Master Show Live. The pinnacle of the career, right?
it's tomorrow. It'll be on the IMDb page, man.
Absolutely. Julie says, I love your positive attitude so much. And so enjoyed being with you, Glenn and Jim. You're a lovity now. Absolutely. Sherry says, thank you so very much, Glenn, for coming to Lovity Hall and sharing your story with us. You're definitely a lovity now. So please come back soon. And yes, Glenn, you're welcome back anytime. I would love that. I've completely enjoyed how positive you are. Jim, you're awesome. You got a new fan. Thank you very much, Julie. I appreciate that. Very lovely for you to say that. Soraya. Glenn, you're one of my favorite actors. Sylvia Troy, so happy to see you, Glenn, as well.
Thanks, Sylvia.
Beautiful stuff, you know, nice people. And we've created that kind of community here on this show. It's just all positivity and good conversations. And
So Jim, let's do a little vision quest together where we see each other here in Sedona doing one of these where we're not in boxes.
Yeah.
Where we could be face to face, and we'll do a live show from one of our Sedona vacation villas.
Love it. Love it.
Love it too.
And when we do it, we'll do plenty of this.
Oh, yes.
Plenty of relaxing. You know who enjoyed? You know who also enjoyed the evening? George Burns. He loves these shows. This was
George Burns.
This was actually my aunt's. She collected. I think that came out when George was 100, and then we had Dreama Denver. I don't know if you've ever met Dreama. She is a phenomenal person. She is the wife. She lives in West Virginia. She left the whole California scene, lives on top of a mountain. Dreama Denver is the wife of Bob Denver, who played Gilligan. And she sent this because she looked at our set. She was a guest about a month or so ago. We had a wonderful, she was, sitting on her living room floor. She just wrote a children's book. It was so casual, like it is with you, so casual and so warm. She saw the set and she said, Jim, you've got George Burns and you've got the genie bottle. You've got all these cool things. And
I love that.
The genie bottle. Yeah, that's cool, huh?
That's cool.
She said, you're missing something. And I said, what could we possibly be missing, on set? And she says, you're missing Gilligan. So I need to send you Gilligan. Aloha, Jim, Dreama Denver, which was very beautiful for her to do that. So Gilligan enjoyed the time too with you, my friend.
That's so great. I grew up on Gilligan's Island.
That's it. Was there ever a TV show that you wished you were on? Did you ever wish you were on the Brady Bunch and a Brady Kid, or on? Do you remember Family with Christy McNichol and Sada Thompson and James Broderick and Meredith Baxter Burnham? That was a great show too.
That was such a good show. In fact, we just hung out with Christy, just Mackenzie, Christy, and I, and a whole bunch of others at the Hollywood Autograph Show before the pandemic. So it must have been at least a year ago.
Yeah, that's right. Exactly. Yeah.
But yeah, as far as another show, I don't know. But One Day at a Time was one of those that I always had my eye on. So maybe, I don't know, I was picking up this energy like I was connected to these people already.
Yeah.
When I did book it, I kind of couldn't believe it. Like I couldn't believe it.
Yeah.
And I just want to also say before we go, the memory and honoring the memory of my dear friend Eddie Van Halen,
yes.
Val's husband, ex-husband, but soulmate to Val.
Mm-hmm.
And I know the world mourned his loss, as so did I. And
absolutely,
I send lots of love to his memory because that was a big deal.
That was far too young, and of course Bonnie and Pat too.
Pat and my friend Phil. It's his birthday today. Phil McKeon. It would have been. I'm not sure. Julie could probably tell us how old Phil would have been today. But he's been on my mind and in my heart all day today for his birthday. So I send love to Phil.
Did you ever work with Linda Lavin? Come across Linda at all over the years?
Because of CBS, we all knew each other.
Everybody was together.
Yes, and like we were their lead-in for all the years I was on the show.
That's right.
Sunday night was 60 Minutes, All in the Family, One Day at a Time, Alice, Jeffersons, and Trapper John. So what a great lineup that was to be a part of, and we got to know everybody on CBS at that point because CBS was a family too, and those other shows were our extended family. So absolutely. Just want to show you a couple more from folks sending their love. Sylvia Troy, so happy to see you. Glenn Freeline says, thank you, Paisan. Thanks, Frank.
And Jen is Zen, Flower Power. Thank you, Glenn, for spending time with us tonight. Fun night. She's in Allentown, Pennsylvania. Yes. Irish 43. Thank you, Glenn and Jim. It is our pleasure. Irish 43. Sylvia Troy says, enjoyed this show, Jim. We'll watch again. Terrific. It's archived on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. Dwight says this was a fabulous show. Thank you, Dwight. I appreciate that. Smiles from Julie, who we were just chatting about. Christine Clifton in North Carolina. This was such a show of positivity, just so inspirational. You are a true lovity. Fun clips, such great stories you shared this evening with us. Thanks for joining us tonight, Glenn. Holy cow, lots of love there, huh? Glenn, all of the hearts are for you from Soraya. And that's like to print that one out and put that on the billboard, highway billboards, right?
Yeah, I'll put that on my mirror in the bathroom when I'm not feeling in my space. I just go, look, up there.
That's it. And a couple more. That's nice to hear. Loved this show. Raised my spirits. You're amazing, Jim and Glenn. As always, you're the best. Frank V. Thank you.
Frank.
Love that. Thank you, Jim, for bringing Glenn to us. This is exactly why we are watching you every evening and call you Mr. Levity. You are the best. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And Julie says that Philip would have been 56.
He would have been 56. I thought he was a little older than me.
Yeah.
In fact, I used to tell him, "You're an old fart." Exactly. So I do remember him being a little older than me.
I was very sad and shocked when I heard when he passed. Yeah, I was. And I think he lived in Texas, right? He was in Texas.
Yeah, he lived in Texas. Nancy also lives in Texas. And we're going on a year now of that. I think it was last December. So
yeah.
We're going on a year on that anniversary. But today would have been his birthday. So happy heavenly birthday, Phil.
And Alex Trebek this week too, of course.
Pancreatic cancer, just like Bonnie. That's what.
Yeah,
that's how we respond.
My mother's the youngest of 16. It's a big family. I know. She's the youngest of 16.
Wow.
Yeah, and it's quite amazing. And but one of the sisters, Lillian, she had pancreatic and 7 months. Yeah, that's a quick scenario. And then of course we lost a fellow New Yorker, and he was actually a dear friend of mine. I had an opportunity to do a lot of things with him. Regis. What a spirit Regis Philbin was, huh?
Yes, indeed. I had the joy of being on his show several times.
Oh, I know you have.
And just, I have only the fondness of memories when it comes to Regis. He was so supportive of me and always so wonderful to me. And he was truly a loss, for sure.
It's amazing. He wanted to be buried at his alma mater, too. So he's actually at Notre Dame. That's where he's...
Well, I mean, he talked about Notre Dame enough on the air. My goodness, it's like he was embedded in their energy anyway, so it makes sense.
The Fighting Irish. Thank you both. Glad I could catch some of it. Hugs to you both. Thank you, Julie. I bet he loved that. Happy birthday, Phil. She met him in Texas. Good stuff. Well, my friend, I know you have your show in the morning. Where could people see all of this? Is there a way? I know ABC 15 is online, other areas where people can follow up more.
Yeah, so abc15.com/Sonoran Living. You could also follow Sedona Now TV on Facebook. That's the best place to see all of our programming. We air every segment that we do on ABC. We air it on Sedona Now TV on Facebook. And I share things too. So look me up on Instagram and Facebook.
You're the best, my friend. Really, really awesome having you. And thanks for spending all this time with us. It felt, we did 2 hours and 23 minutes. Like I said, two New Yorkers, you put them together, you got to put a pot of coffee on, right?
I know, exactly. I went through a whole bottle of water. Are you kidding? Which means, you know what? My next stop.
That's right.
Wrap this up quick.
Well, there'll be a flood. First it was a fire, now a flood.
It's very biblical.
Very biblical. Absolutely. My friend, it was a pleasure. I hope we do get together and break bread and you know, just have some camaraderie in person when we get past all this COVID stuff and everything. You're a ray of light, a true joy. You've been very successful in a very demanding career, and you've come through a lot of different things in your life that are very inspiring and empowering to other people. And we tip our hat to you. We applaud you, and you keep doing Glenn, you know, because you really are a very heartful and soulful person. And it was a pleasure having you on the show. Hope it met your expectations, and I hope you enjoyed your time with me as much as I have with you, Glenn.
Absolutely, Jim. And thank you again so much for inviting me. And we'll see you soon. We're going to make that happen.
All right. You take care.
Okay, bud.
All right.
Bye,
Bye-bye now.
everybody.
Bye-bye. Amazing, right? Fantastic. And we really appreciate all the time Glenn gave us. He is spectacular. And hopefully you got a chance to learn a little bit more about him and some of the incredible things that maybe you forgot that he did as well. He's been involved in so many great things. I love the cool things that he's doing now. As he mentioned, Sedona Now TV is really cool. I've seen quite a few clips and quite a few segments, and really, really fantastic. And of course, as we talk about some of the other things that he's done, you got a chance to relive some of the memories as well. Soraya says, bye, Glenn, and claps. Dwight says, best live stream. Thank you very much. Dwight, if you're watching for the first time, we've been doing this show. I do this for a living in television and radio professionally, but we started this show 28 weeks ago, which I can't believe. We do it every single day, and sometimes we've done 2 shows in one day. Sometimes we have artists like musicians and singers from Europe, so we'll adjust the time. Like this Sunday, we have the legend Phil Coulter, who's coming on. He's a multi-platinum record producer, musician, songwriter, and he's going to be live from Ireland. And I've interviewed a lot of the guys from Celtic Thunder, Celtic Women, all over the years on public television and elsewhere, but they've come on this show too, and Phil's going to be here on Sunday. So we're adjusting the time to do the show earlier, because in that location, it's going to be about 8 o'clock at night for Phil Coulter. But really cool. And thank you very much. You can see all of the episodes, 28 weeks, over 207 episodes of the Jim Masters Show live on YouTube. Boy, my hair's getting long. My hair is usually shorter like that, but we've just been letting it grow since March. Even the hair salon even called and said, do you still love us? Are you going to come visit? And I'm like, sure, of course. Just sort of letting it grow. It's been cool. So we do the show every day. We're here tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Sometimes we're on YouTube and Facebook. You can find me on YouTube here at Jim Masters TV. I hope you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss anything. Click that notification bell so you don't miss any content. And there's other things on the channel too. All 207 plus episodes of the Jim Masters Show live are here. But also we do Masters Mantras, which are these positive inspirational videos. And there's some other career stuff on there as well. And I'm on Facebook at Jim Masters TV, Instagram, Jim Masters TV, Twitter, Periscope, and Twitch at Jim Masters TV. Now, I know YouTube, they said, was a little funky tonight. I guess there was a major YouTube outage or update. Might have been an outage earlier. So they're fine now. Everything is fine. This entire episode, if you missed anything, the entire episode of the Jim Masters Show live with our fantastic friend Glenn Scarpelli, you'll be able to see in the archives. I think you should be able to see the whole thing as soon as we wrap the show up. If for any reason you miss part of it, we'll re-upload it, because we record the entire thing as we do it live, so nothing is ever missed. So if you joined us late or there was some crazy stuff, because we had heard that YouTube had some major outage early tonight worldwide. It wasn't just with us. It was a worldwide crazy situation. But we were still on. We were still on live. Everything was still going. Everything is being documented and recorded. And it was funky because some of you were able to see and some of you were not. I don't know. Are you the chosen ones that were? Some of you were fine and you were commenting and everything was cool and great and no problems. And some of you, you just saw that spinning circle, which I know is aggravating when you see that anywhere, right? Just, come on, I want the thing to start. So don't fret, because this is recorded and you're going to be able to see the entire episode in its entirety. Hopefully, you know, right now you should be able to see it, or as soon as we wrap up. Otherwise, we will, if we have to re-upload it, we will re-upload it. And then we will share the link on YouTube, and we'll also share it on Facebook, the link to the episode. Again, we're going to take a look at it and just make sure, because again, some of you had said that YouTube made an announcement that there was a major YouTube worldwide outage or something that happened. Nobody could watch anything on YouTube at all. So I don't know if there was a situation that happened with YouTube or they were updating their systems. If they were updating their systems, they should update them at like 2 a.m., not at 8 o'clock at night, East Coast time. Might have been an outage, maybe an overload. You know, everybody's on the internet these days. Anyway, if this is the first time you've joined us, this show is all about light love and levity, or as we call it, lovity. If you still want to comment, you want to say hello, I'll stick around for a little while. I am your host, Jim Masters. We've done host chats. We've also done food festival shows where we did 2.5 hours talking about recipes and food. We've gone on location. We've gone to Malibu, Los Angeles. We actually took you guys to the Brady Bunch house and to the house where Family was filmed with Kristen McNichol and Seda Thompson and James Broderick, and as well Meredith Baxter Burney and Gary Frank. And also we went to the Netherlands. We went to Red Rocks together on this show. Along the New England coast we've taken you, and we've had some amazing guests from the worlds of television, film, music, Broadway, Hollywood, entertainment, science and nature, health, culinary arts, comedy, inspiration, you name it. Yes, I know, food. But yeah, this Trader Joe's lemonade is absolutely awesome. Really, really cool. You missed the beginning and want to see it all? No worries. We will have that. And Irish 43, luck on your side. You saw the whole thing. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Jim, I love your shirt. Yeah, for about an hour you had that, right? So no worries, because we had a terrific, terrific show. Thanks, Jim. Your hair is fine. I like, oh, thank you. I like that. You're letting your hair grow too. Do you like the outfit? Internet is crazy tonight. I know there's storms, or, 2020. Chalk it up to 2020. Absolutely crazy. He was a great guy having fun. Absolutely. I agree. Dwight, thank you very much. I appreciate that. We do this show like a television show because that's the kind of work I do professionally. So we format this like a television show versus like a podcast or something like just a stream. We format it that way, and it's so good to see all of our regulars and many others who've joined us tonight for the very first time. You had ice cream for dessert. Very cool. Check out the repeat. Caught the end. Good. The repeat will be available for you. You have a great evening as well. Good stuff. Good stuff. And I just want to tell you some of the folks that are coming up. We've got some amazing guests coming up. Of course, we thank our very, very special guest, the one and only Glenn Scarpelli, for all of his time. Great conversation. He really is a cool guy, and he's shared so much about his life. He's so open. He's so authentic. Of course, you remember him back then. There he is today, and really a blessing to have him on the show today. And dear friend as well. And we've got some suggestions coming in. Can I suggest CJ Snare of Firehouse be on your show? Very knowledgeable and lots of good stories of music. That sounds cool. Would love that. Sherry says, I live out in the middle of nowhere and was able to keep my connection the whole time. Makes no sense to me. I know. Well, now, were you standing on your roof with a wire hanger pointing towards this region here? Maybe we were talking about the divine tonight. Maybe the divine was on your side, Sherry. Glad you were with us the whole time. I know there's a few regulars that have gone by the wayside, but they'll be able to see the entire thing. Again, I guess there was a major YouTube outage that happened right around 7:15, 7:30 or something. Perfect timing, right? That's Eastern time. We've got some amazing guests coming up. As I mentioned on Sunday, platinum selling music legend, recording artist and songwriter, musician, the incomparable Phil Coulter is going to be here. He's been responsible for decades worth of music. He's going to be live from Ireland, and he's going to be here exclusively on our show Sunday. Now, that's going to be at a different time. That's going to be 3 p.m. Eastern, noon Pacific, and it'll be 8 p.m. in Ireland, England, and Scotland. The reason why we're doing it earlier is so it accommodates, an earlier time for Phil Coulter's fans in Europe, so they can see the show. So again, that will be on Sunday. It's going to be incredible. He's going to be by the piano. He's going to play live. He's all excited. He sent me his autobiography and his music and lyric book. He's a great guy, and we've been talking about it on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and YouTube. He's going to be here coming up on Sunday. Again, yes, we thank Glenn Scarpelli, and Phil Coulter is coming. I'll tell you a few more folks that are coming up as well. On Saturday night, live from England, we have another incredible musician. This is Celtic blues musician Matt Steady. He's wildly popular in the UK. He's a brilliant musician, a singer as well. He's going to be here live. This will be on Saturday. Now, normally our show is 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live on YouTube at Jim Masters TV. And sometimes we also do it on Facebook at Jim Masters TV. Phil Coulter on Sunday, Matt Steady on Saturday. Both of them will be exclusively on the YouTube channel at Jim Masters TV. Matt Steady is a brilliant musician, Celtic blues musician, and so much more. He's going to be performing live from England this Saturday on the Jim Masters Show Live. That's going to be at 3 p.m. Now, that's going to be actually at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, which will be 9 p.m. Greenwich Mean Time, which, of course, is the time in England, Ireland, Scotland. So Matt Steady's really, really cool, very popular. He's going to be here on Saturday night, and it's going to be a great night of music, conversation, and more. Tomorrow night, we have a brilliant film, television, and stage actor who's going to be joining us as well, Robert Ciccoli. He's really, really, you've seen him on soap operas, you've seen him in movies, all kinds of television and stage. He's going to be here tomorrow night, 7 p.m. Eastern. That's Thursday night, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific, live on YouTube and on Facebook. Then on Friday, this is a brilliant and award-winning record producer, owner of J Records in England. This is John Yap. He's going to be here live. He is extraordinary. You're going to love him. And then again, Saturday in the afternoon, we're going to have Matt Steady live from England, a brilliant Celtic blues musician. On Sunday, again, multi-platinum award-winning musician, songwriter, and music producer Phil Coulter is going to be here. Then on Monday, the extraordinary actor and lyricist, he is incredible. This is Bill Russell, and he's all excited to be here. He's filled with joy and levity. We can't wait to have him here on Monday night. That's 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific as well. So again, and this is just scratching the surface of some of the guests that are coming up on the Jim Masters Show Live. And Sherry says, can't wait to meet Phil Coulter on your show, Jim. He's one of the brilliant minds behind Celtic Thunder and more. Absolutely. Thank you, Jim. Have a great night. Good night, all. Stay safe. Be well. You too. And it's a pleasure always having you with us, Kathleen. You should have gone out on your roof, 3-story house. It's a climb, LOL. Would you have been zen on top of your roof? Gang, you guys are the best. Really a pleasure having you here as often as you are. It's amazing having you here. And of course, there's a few things we always say on this show before we wrap up. You saw the cast of characters. Lin, the big panda, sitting all the way over there. We'll have Lin here for the weekend. But you got a chance to see George, Jeannie, and Gilligan. Don't forget to relax, everybody. Take care of one another, love one another, and love yourself. Breathe from the diaphragm. Get a full breath from the diaphragm. And, share the joy and the blessings in your life. Life isn't always going to be perfect every single day. However, when you get a chance to talk about some of the things that Glenn and I talked about, we talked about his terrific career, but we also talked about life, and he was very open and shared a lot of brilliant things with me here and with all of you, our lovely viewers from around the world. And he was really a delight to have on the show, and he's welcome back anytime, of course. And Christine says, Glenn was such a delightful guest, full of levity. I can see how you two would connect. Another show, The Deep, Meaningful Conversation, all fantastic guests coming up this week and through the weekend. Thank you, Christine. Absolutely. And as we always say, in addition to relax, we say don't forget to smile. Definitely don't forget to smile as often as you can. Might sound Pollyanna, but what the heck? Here's to Pollyanna. Pollyanna, she sat next to me in 3rd grade. She was a good student, Pollyanna. And don't forget to share the levity, something that we have created here on the Jim Masters Show Live, which has turned out to be really a blessing. And find your Zen place. We talked about Death Valley a little bit, but my true Zen place is with loved ones and friends, family, of course, music, my career, tennis, cycling, writing, creative writing, as well as the ocean. The ocean, living along the coast here, the ocean speaks volumes to me. So glad that you got a chance to hear that Death Valley story a little bit. I mentioned it a couple of times in the past on the show with certain guests, and I thought it was nice to share it with all of you and with Glenn as well. Kindred spirits we seem to be, and similar thinking in so many different levels. Can't wait to get out to Sedona and hang a little bit and connect our dots, that's for sure. And Sherry says, good night, Jim and Lovedies. It was wonderful being in Lovedy Hall again this evening. Please be safe all as well. Again, if you guys missed anything, the entire thing should be available on YouTube momentarily in the archives. If not, we will re-upload everything. If you missed an episode, want to watch this again, all the past episodes, all 207 plus and growing episodes of the Jim Masters Show Live are available on our YouTube channel. There it is at Jim Masters TV, and we hope you subscribe to the channel as well. This has been a terrific evening. We thank you very much for your time. This time till next time, this is your host, Jim Masters. I hope you guys had a good day today. Hope you had a good evening with us. And I know for some of you, the timing is a little bit different. It's morning. We have an international audience, so we have folks watching in Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, Ireland, all across the United States, Canada, Mexico, even Iceland. We're still waiting for some viewers from the Arctic Circle and Antarctica. So if you have any friends, colleagues, or cousins in the Arctic Circle or Antarctica, ring them up and tell them the Jim Masters Show Live is here every night for their viewing pleasure, 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. Gang, you guys are the best. Here's another comment coming in before we wrap up. Keith Harkin. Oh, yes, Keith Harkin. You're asking about Keith Harkin from Celtic Thunder. We're looking at December. Right now, he's in Portugal. I interviewed him on public television. Cool guy, too. He is in Portugal with his wife and his child. They're driving through Portugal, doing very special events in a van, which is amazing. So we're putting that all together, and we have a tentative date. Can't say the exact date yet, but it's like mid-December. And we'll post it on the Facebook page of Jim Masters TV, so you can check that out. Emmett O'Hanlon, who you may remember from Celtic Thunder, he's going to be here on, I believe it's the 11th, Friday the 11th of December. He's going to be here live, and it's going to be cool, and it's going to be amazing. Good night, Jim, and all Lovedies. See you all tomorrow. Lovedy hugs. Absolutely, absolutely. Good night, gang. This is Jim Masters here, thanking you for your time. This time till next time, it was a blessing, as always, having you here. We love all of you, and we thank you wherever you're watching from. If you're watching live or you watch this later, it truly is a blessing. We started this show, this series, 28 weeks ago on the side, and it's been truly a blessing, and it continues to be. And as long as you guys are here, as I'm juggling this with my professional work, we'll just keep entertaining and informing, inspiring, and educating you here on the Jim Masters Show Live Entertainment Lifestyle Talk Show series. Hope you had a good time tonight. Really beautiful having our friend Glenn Scarpelli here. He gave so much of his time and talent tonight. Much love, everyone. You too, Irish 43. As always, Christopher Joseph, night all, you as well. We will see you tomorrow. Be here 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific on both YouTube and on Facebook at Jim Masters TV. Good night, Soraya. Wonderful having you here too, and everybody who's watched and who will be watching this in the archives later. We love you all. You take care. You have a good night, and thanks for watching. Bye-bye.